But in addition to all those Reaper Clear and liner paints, we got our sponges here because we're going to be starting out down and dirty. We've got liner paints too. This time I remembered sepia liner. So we got green, sepia blue, red, all of those different ones. We got the brown liner out here. And we've also got our usual off-whites. Here's the Maggot White and the Maiden Flesh. We'll show these every so often. I got some of the orange, some whatever, but we do have a couple of creature casters out here. I mean, Faded Ultramarine, there's nothing you can do. It just gets on the palette by itself. Nothing, it can't control it. Hey, Pixel Cat, how's it going? I thought if I did a stream at this time, maybe people would actually get to see it instead of, well, having to be up at Wappel o'clock in the morning. Now, we've got the usual number 8 round craft brushes here. But before these get all full of paint and everything else, I just want to show this. So you have this one over here that's pretty new. It's only been used one time. This one over here on the right, that's been used, well, several times, I guess. And the nice thing about it is I can flatten it out and make that filbert brush especially handy for oils, but also for acrylics. But then look at this. As we flip this over on its side, you can't tell the two apart. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. Now I'm going to move this over so I can see the Pixel Cat says, I just made an unholy mess making my own oil mixers. Yeah, well, it's a messy process. It is a messy process. And actually, I just had this Tupperware container that happened to really contain the blast radius, so to speak. Now we got a little radius of colors here. We've got brown liner, blue liner, red liner, green liner, sepia liner. We're going to move this way. We got yellow, orange, red, blue, and green. These are the clear paints. Here's your two creature casters over here. And this is your Maiden Flesh and your Maggot White. So these are the opaques that are going to work with these clears and liners. Now, first thing we're going to do, as always, we're going to get down and messy here. Speaking of messy, Pixel Cat, we're going to get messy. It means we're going to take some of our blue liner, some of our brown liner. We're going to just mix ourselves a nice little, we got armor here, right? Nice and neat, all in between the lines. Maybe not. Even going to throw in a little bit of green liner here. I'm going to, I see he's got probably a yellow cloak, so that means I'm even going to get a little bit of this, a little bit of the sepia liner in there. And we're just going to fill in all of these crevices here. Primer is the usual. Badger Dino Res. I'll show you the jar in a bit. But first, there we go. Covered. You can take the big sponge or the more targeted sponges here. And we're going to do something like so. Hey, cosplaying kitten. How are you doing? Now, were you going to... I know you did your stream yesterday. Go follow Cosplaying Kitten because you'll get digital art and miniature painting. So definitely give Cosplaying Kitten a follow. Actually, give everybody in the stream here should do the follow thing because the community here on Twitch is just freaking amazing. Now let's see. Today we're painting Song of Ice and Fire. We're doing the new Baratheon Heroes. So this is just one of them right here. We'll kind of focus on that one and Margaery, and then this guy here, this Eldon, Estermont, whatever. So I'm going to assume that he's got a yellow cloak since this is all Baratheon type stuff here. And we also got another guy too, but we're going to do this type of basing on him. So I got the usual Sculpey sheet right there and painted it up. So we're going to start here. We're going to get some blue liner on that base. Just cover it up. Because we want to get that primer, again, out of our field of vision. And as always, Badger Dino Res. It's a mixture of a few different types of primer colors. There's a little bit of ebony for a start. Even a little touch of the green in there. And then after that, I'm going to hit it with that, was it Light Flash? It is called, yes, it's called Light Flash. I always thought it was a sandy or tan or whatever, but they just call it light flesh. Okay, so I'm gonna let this sit, but you can already see we've got just a little more stuff going on. Hey, Techno Cat, how's it going? Sorry I couldn't join you guys on the Discord last night, but I was filming and then editing, which all requires me to be doing something else besides chatting on the Discord, so I apologize for that. And it's alright for drinking right in your ear. I didn't have a chance to move the microphone because I got a miniature and a brush in my hands. We got green liner over here for, was this Margaery? I'll just say Margaery. Oh, wait, that's it. I thought it was neutral as well until I looked at the container and it said light flesh. I didn't even know. He has it cleverly hidden on the back of the container. Like at the bottom of the back of the container is the name, which would be easier if it actually was, say, I don't know, on the front in larger letters. But Ken does what Ken does, and therefore you have it in tiny letters on the back where you don't even know that's what it's called. Yeah, let's just do the same thing. But you can see we've got some different shades of green here. So I like taking the sponge and cutting it into smaller pieces. And it's more interesting doing this than just, oh, I don't know, the whole pre-shading with the airbrush and stuff. To me, this is way more fun. Yes, it's more messy because look at my fingers already. Oh, yeah, Kathy is, oh, yeah, see, you got dual Wapples once again. That's kind of the advantage of doing it at this time, is that there's it's a twofer. It is a twofer. Let's march along with our blue liner here. Oh, a little touch of the brown. Now that we're on this part of the base, let these dry, and then, where's my pad? And then I can just go ahead. We'll orientate it exactly that way, and we'll do that same pattern once again. And that's pretty much all that is on the base, is just blue liner sitting there. All right, we've got ourselves a couple of bases there. Let's do. Oh, this is this is actually Melisandre right here.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
And we got ourselves a follow from Kindor. Thanks for the follow. Gandalf approves, obviously. So we got some red liner. Now let's just sneak in a little bit of our clear red in here. That starts to change that a bit. It's not so much about creating a specific dark color. It's something that I can work off of. Oh, thanks for the subscription, Toofs. So say we all. Oh, look, there goes my head. Lands in the jar. Flies around. Knocks a bunch of stuff out. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Wait. That's, if something lands in the jar, that means, where did I go? Oh, here he is. Here he is. He comes out, and he's going to drink something out of the jar right there. There we go. Because that is me drinking out of the jar. Thanks again. It's appreciated. It is appreciated. So I don't know, I guess this weekend I may be doing a whole bunch of live streams because, well, CMON Expo is supposed to be this weekend. I didn't know that till this morning. And I went, okay, good to know. So I'll be, let's see, we're going to get a lot of the Targaryen stuff ready to go because I want to paint horses in oils. Oh, the Gandalf voice right there. Yeah, that's, well, and as far as we can tell, he's asking that the little hobbits would spark his ganja. Not quite sure what that means, but, well, only, I guess, Gandalf knows what it means. Yeah, we're just gonna, now here, I didn't really want to saw this one off of the base. Most of the time, that is what I do with these guys. So here, I will show you, as we wait for some of these to dry. This is a typical, now here's a Baratheon unit, so you can see what we're trying to do with our basing here. So there you go. All of these guys have been taken off of their bases, the original ones. I'll show you. So this is typically how they are on this 30mm base. Hey, it's Lord Dave. How you doing? Yeah, you won't. Oh, look at that. See, when you subscribe now, you got my face looking at your name. I didn't even realize I'm actually looking at the names. Now that's very cool. Oh, Beef in the Hole is in the house. Hey, oh, actually, yeah, look at that. Beef in the Hole. He's got himself the Eye of Sauron. He has the eye. And these are magnetized, as always. So I can just kind of turn them upside down, do whatever. But actually, I painted some of these guys in a live stream. Painted some of the Stag Knights. I think now they're on YouTube. But you can see the marble pattern. This goes across the entire thing. And we've got another unit here. This is part of my army painting series. So here I use the Green Stuff World texture rollers, so you can see that lion theme. But you can see the cut leaves in there. I use some secret weapon weathering powders on the bases. That's kind of the nifty thing about the Song of Ice and Fire miniatures. Now, but you can go further with the bases too. So here's another weapons team right here, the Scorpion. And I use the crushed glass. I use some MIG ammo mud. And we were able to get some muddy snow. Beef has been here. Oh, and Beef and Hole, you will be glad to know that tomorrow I'm going to be making, well, burritos. So burritos are going to happen. Yes, yes, yes. And I guess after I eat those burritos, there might be a ganja or two sparked. Let's see. Olim, I'm going to have to steal that rainbow cloak design. Well, it's, like I said, it's one of the Patreon series that I did, but the key to that, actually, that the rainbow cloaks was adding, I don't have it over here, but it's a Reaper color, and I think other guys have it too, or other companies make it. It's basically sort of a pearl white, and what I did was I added a little touch of that pearl white to each color of the rainbow of the cloaks there, and it made it look a little bit like silk. Because if I added the metal medium, then it would have looked like metallic cloaks. But that pearl white was just enough to make it look kind of like that silky, oh, whatever, that's kind of shiny silk. Especially since there was all those transitions to do. But look at this. Look at how that real quickly builds up that, not just shading, but some different colors too. Oh, thank you for the host. Ah, there we go. Still can't find the Muster the Rohirrim soundbite, but at least I got that. So I've got that. Get my little sponges here. Back to the blue liner for the base. I'm just trying to get up all these bases here so that we can paint a few of these during the stream, because I know people are going to come in here over the course of time and they're going to say, hey, how'd you do that base? Oh, cosplaying kitten. She gets herself the Eye of Sauron too. Oh, thanks, Lord Dave. Oh, thank you for the bits. Well, something goes in the jar. So that means... And I always got to remember his name. It's actually Wappelius Spellbrush. Here he goes on over. And he has a drink out of what's in the cup. So he says, thank you very much. It is appreciated. Love to hear myself. Actually, now I had a different sound for that. And... I have no idea why that one went away. I had a whole different... Oh, now I know why. Okay, never mind. I'm on my Song of Ice and Fire thing in OBS. That's why the old sounds are there. Okay. So we've got bases pretty well prepped. We're going to set these guys aside. Now let's go back to... Let's go back to him. Who is he? Eldon Estermont. Start to put some colors on him here. Let's do some cloaky type stuff. We'll start to make him look a little more like he's got himself a yellow cloak. Working with ye old craft brushes as always. Oh, and look at Loim. He's got himself the Shield of Rohan. Now I had more, but one of them got rejected because it was, I guess it was only part of the image, because, well, when you get down to, what is it, 28 pixels, you can't see anything. So, yeah, one of them got rejected. I'll have to make another, or just kind of redo it without it getting smaller. Now, what kind of pants does this guy have? It doesn't say. We'll just give him, I don't know, some kind of brown colored pants. Oh, and Lord Dave, oh, thank you very much. It's appreciated. Yeah, the spell brush figure, that was pretty darn fun to paint. That was just way more fun even than I thought it was going to be. And I figured it would be fun, but man, I really enjoyed the heck out of that. I really enjoyed it. And he snuck so many freaking little details in there. I couldn't believe him. Every time I'd turn around, I said, holy smokes, how did he get that in there? And then I look and I said, holy smokes, how did he get that in there? Now, look at the... Let's see if we can do this. Just going to hold it like this. Can you see both? Yeah, you can see them both. Ah, we got some Dutch. We have Dutch on this stream, too. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I've done that. Actually, I just did that the other day. Those actually, we're going to have a Nessie miniature so that Nessie and Spellbrush can go toe-to-toe fighting over the faded ultramarine. Mom hates it when the kids fight. Here, let's get some lighter tones here. But see how it's got that kind of a greenish hint to it there? Looks like, oh, that's also metal there too. Metal there. Metal there and there. And I just have to remember, now of course from Genuine Vision streams, that, oh, that's interesting. I don't remember that. I guess you can carry your own emotes. Oh, never mind. There's probably the generic ones that are available. I'm thinking, I don't remember making that emote. I do not remember that one. But then I forget there's not just the ones that I made. I'm going to keep trying to make more. I think there's still a couple more tier 1s that I can do. Maybe one more. Here we go. A little faded ultramarine there. Oh, just a little bit. Sword, no. And I just learned that the things on the elbows, they refer to those as couters. And thank you for the host. Nessie has called on the hosts of Rohan to host the stream. Thank you. So, see, now we're getting into our little filbert brush over here. It's going to be kind of like oils in a way because, well, we got wet paint here. Wet paint means wet blend. Working fast. Big brushes. It means you can do that sort of thing. Now, the nifty thing is Nessie knows already about your Song of Ice and Fire, that all the figures basically one piece. You just get rid of the mold lines, and you don't have to if you don't want to. Oh, and also give Nessie knows a follow too, and check out, was it today you posted the YouTube video on the Legion figure? And I'm telling you, man, after seeing that one vehicle, and now of course I have to see if Miniature Market still has those available, but that could be, that the basing on that alone could be kind of epic. I don't know. I think that just might have to be done.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
So Gandalf just got sparked. But, oh, yeah, this is, I think other people have noticed the same thing, that, whatchamacallit, Twitch is like doing unfollowing things, like against your will, because there's 4 or 5 people that I know I had followed them, only to be on their streams and go, why the heck is this button active here in the corner? Only to find out that I wasn't following them, and that just didn't seem quite right. Now we are going to go with a bit more of the faded ultramarine here. Now it depends. So we got this kind of a tan brown color here on his sleeve. I'm going to get some of that going here. It's a little bit of the maggot white. Oh yeah, so much fun with the Legion minis and those vehicles. It must be a kind of a newer thing that they're doing with those. I'm just okay. So the stolen bike is not a message for me. Oh, thank you, Olim. It's appreciated. Oh, it's a gift. Okay. Well, thanks again for
So say we all.
and metagames. So that means dum da dum. He drinks out of the jar, or he just does this. He just waits for those things to fall down into his face.
So say
It's
we
like a
all.
drinking game. Uh-oh, Lord Dave has also subscribed. I think we got gift subs. I think there's gift subs floating around.
So say we all.
I have a suspicion. Oh, let's see. I'm adding U47 for you. Let's see. Lord Dave, Jacob, or Jakob, sorry. I should say on
So say we
metagames.
all.
I'm going to try and make sure I read all the names that fly by here. But thank you so much, Toofs, for all the gifted subs. It is appreciated. Very much so. Oh, let's get his hair in here now, too. So we will do a little... We'll do a happy dance here with Wappelius Spellbrush. He says, thank you very much. And then he bows after his happy dance. Yeah, I've forgotten about the gift sub thing. Oh, who was it that was the kind of got, I don't want to say sabotaged a bit, but they were playing with Genuine Vision. That's right. He was trying to get this figure painted, I guess, by the end of the stream, so he could do a giveaway with it. It's part of his path to partner type thing. He's trying to get to the partner, and he's painting this figure around about 3/4 of the way through. 50, 60 gift subs or whatever, just pouring out, and he can't keep up with the names, and that was kind of funny to see. So the gift subs are definitely appreciated, and it's good when they come in batches, because then you get that sound, you get to hear Adama over and over again. Let's get a little bit more tan into this now. I'll go back to his cloak. I like the idea of that being actually a little bit more towards the yellow, because I want to reflect some of that here on his armor. Let's see. Oh, brush for hire showed his belly and someone made that emote in horror. Haha. Well, there's no fear of that happening here, because this is about all the cameras can show, because as those who have seen this painting area know, this is kind of like the interior of a fighter jet right here. There's a few millimeters between everything. So this figure is probably 1.5 inches from the palette cam, which is maybe 2.5 inches from some of the lights, and that is maybe 3 inches away from the main camera. And then you've got all the other stuff around me that's got to be around there. But see how, look at this, we're using those clear paints. See how they, unlike ironically enough, where'd my creature caster paints go? So these guys here, hey, White Squirrel, how you doing? These guys here, they cover like crazy, and that's kind of why we break these out. But the nifty thing about the clear, especially the clear paints, is that they're more just a pigment. Think of them in some ways a little bit like the Chimera colors, just basically pigment without a whole bunch of other stuff in them. Now look at this. See, now this is the new brush, but look at how I'm using it on its side. So I got this nice sharp tip until I push it over on its side, and all of a sudden now it's about a 1/2 inch wide brush. So that's a brush for hire. I didn't get a chance to catch his this morning. I know Mike Disney he's streaming right now, and I basically missed everybody's earlier today, because I was trying to get these things primed and ready to go here, because I somehow thought I already had these ready to go, and then realized, oh yeah, it's easier to paint figures when they're not in a box wrapped in cellophane. Oh, thanks again. Let's see. Inks are transparent. I don't actually use any of the inks. I'm not quite sure I ever did. I did use the GW washes back in there, whatever it was they called them. And I've got a bunch of videos on the YouTube channel with the contrast paints, which reminds me, I haven't done a Twitch stream yet fooling around with the contrast paints. So somebody's got to remind me to say, hey, Jim, mess around with the contrast paints on a live stream. Actually, this longer format is good because I could potentially try all of them, the transparents, the Reaper clear liners, and the contrast paints all sort of together on one stream, and that way people could see. Now that was really generous, Toofs. It's appreciated. It really is. But you see, we can just kind of build this up. Look, we haven't even gotten to any kind of yellow yet. And if I add any of the, say, the maggot white to that, then it's going to be even that much more opaque. It's not just lighter, but more opaque. I really want that translucency here. I really want that. But now I've got to start reflecting this yellow into the metals here. So we're going to do that too. Here, let's get that on his elbow, on his shoulder, and there. Let's see. Oh, and here too. Trick is that the reflections also, you need those to be not as bright as the original because it's a reflection. That's sort of a 2D art thing as well. You kind of get to know that, well, if you're going to make something a reflection, okay, let's bring this back now. Can you see? Yeah, you can see the two of them together. Let's start to do some other things with the metals here. Start to bring out some lighter tones. Now on here it's showing a bunch of dings and dents on his chest armor. I'm not really seeing those necessarily on the sculpt itself. We could try to put those on there. That wouldn't be too difficult. What do we need to do here? We need to also think about our usual sort of linear highlights and chain of highlights. So if it starts here, it's going to go here. It's going to hit some of the chain mail and then go right down to here. So it's kind of this continuous line. It even goes through the, it would even go through the cloth a little bit there. Now, okay, so those can be gold. Those can be gold. We'll hit those real quick here. We're also going to get some orange on those. Now we need to, just looking at this, there's this really nice greenish color here. Let's maybe enhance that a bit. There we go. Take some of that away. And you don't see, it's not going to make a tremendous different value. It's actually the same exact value as what's there. What am I talking about with the value? How light or dark it is. It's the exact same value of light and dark that you've already got in the armor, but now it gives it a little hint of a different color. Just gives it a little more life. What you're always trying to do is get a little bit more life into these things. Because otherwise they can get, metals is just not a series of blue grays. And I've seen it over and over again. People are doing this bluish gray thing, and it looks like really nifty Space Wolves armor. Oh, Cosplaying Kitten has a, that's a pretty cool little emote right there. I don't know if people have actually had emotes yet. I don't even know if people have had emotes in the stream yet. And like I said, I forgot that I have to bring over some of my sounds to this new, yeah. Now let's get some of this darker stuff here. So this is some of the green liner. If you want to have light, you must have dark, and vice versa. That's another reading from the Book of Wappel. We should have had other readings when all the other bits and stuff happen. Oh, that's the other thing I actually literally have to make a Book of Wappel. I have to actually start making some pages and almost have it be another image that I can go to when someone does something to make that jar go active. Here, let's get some little touch of dark right there. See, we're starting to impart some more of that green. We're also going to get more reflected light here just by default by adding this dark here. And look at how transparent that is, but it's not a glaze. It's the advantage of these very soft, long brushes. It just lets me do things like that that are really, really handy. So there we go. We've got armor that's working here, but we're using green. That is our, yeah, we can go even darker with even some more green liner. We'll enhance it with some blue liner even. Even darker right there. Now let's give him some lighter skin tones here. And we want to keep those somewhat on the ruddy side, so there's a little bit of your sepia tone, or sepia liner, sorry, mixed in there. He's got some serious bags under his eyes. We got to get some greens into his skin tone as well. Now, we don't want to get too much with the maiden flesh too quick. I'm going to throw a little bit of yellow in here too, just so that it doesn't get too much on the chalky side. Now we can throw in a touch of that maiden flesh. We'll have to get into, just give him some eyes as well. So we've started to construct some of the skin tone. Let's give him some green here. Oh, what the heck, there's some of that bluish green. We're just going to throw that poof right there on his face. We're going to get some of that into his hair. Because painting white with white. Oh, look at this. We got New Way Designs. How you doing? Welcome in. Well, it's definitely, I'd like to do these regular nighttime streams more often so that you guys can see these without having to stay up until the wee hour or get up at insane o'clock in the morning, otherwise also known now as Wappel o'clock in the morning. Now, to distinguish that from the robe, I'm going to give that gold just a touch of orange there. Oh, let's give him some, take a little bit of that fresh little plum over there, put that on the hands, get some of it on his face. I'm just going to assume that he is not wearing gloves. He might be, but it doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to give him some boots. Let's go with that's our brown. We'll just make him some type of a brownish gray here, maybe. I could do the mud spatter thing too, but I think we'll stay away from that. We did, because we're mostly walking around on marble anyhow. So yeah, we won't quite mess with the mud spatters. There's other units I've done that have the mud spatter on them for sure. Let's get a little bit of that maiden flesh into here, and almost a pinkish gray. It's more magenta. Yeah, that's, well, if it ain't got pink, it ain't metal. It ain't metal till it got pink. So we're going to give it some pink soon. And I'm gonna start messing with the base. Do a design on the base also. Now these guys here, I haven't actually looked at them. Well, yeah, I was filing mold lines not that long ago, but I really wasn't looking at them beyond just, okay, is the mold line gone? So I'm looking at them now going, oh, okay, that's what that thing actually is. Oh, that's what that's supposed to be. Which is kind of, well, not so unusual these days. Oh, New Way Design. The simplicity of it being how fast it covers. Yeah. Well, the idea is to be able to have your stuff painted really nicely. And the only difference is, okay, I can sit here and spend another 4 or 5 hours on this guy after the stream is over to do more of the refinements. And let's see, where is he? So this is the latest video that I was working on. Where did you guys go? Maybe I didn't bring him in. Here they are. So this is This is what I was doing in the latest tutorial last night. Now you saw me actually painting that base, I think here on the stream, but like that pattern over there, I had to go over that 3-4 times to clean things up. Hey, it's Thunderdome. Go give Thunderdome a follow too. Yeah, well, we have used our fingers already, and our sponges. Oh, you know me. Is any chance to finger paint is going to be taken? You bet that. You bet for sure it is. Here, let's go one little step lighter here on his boots. Now, let's start thinking about our base here. I just want to make sure you guys can see that, and I can hang on to it without actually dropping it, because that is something that I don't want to do. All right, now I got them both in my hand. I think you can see that. I think you can. Let's do some quick little patterns over here. Just lay this out. I'm going to have it go this way. Let's see if we can just... Wow, that's going to be one heck of a long line right there. Second part of the line. Can you see that? Yeah. Starting over here. There we go. That is one heck of a long line. Now I'll get to our individual parts of this. And even this little stair step thing, that is actually in the other marble bases too. Oh, where do you connect? You connect right here. And here. Then the outline. And then the rest is just going to be swirls. Okay, good to know. We can do the rest now. And like I said, the original blue right there is just the blue liner paint. It's a nice sort of a deep grayish blue. And let's look at just a simple little semi-outline here. Now we'll start to, let's get his scabbard here with some kind of color on that too while I'm thinking about it. Oh, let's see. I'm just looking here at the messages here. Wow, that just once dipped his fingers into a jar of finger paint and the remnants were bottled and now sold as pro acryl. I do, yes, I like that idea. I like that. That's very cool. Let's see, watching the Urza archetype. How's it going? Welcome in. Oh yeah, that's right. Techno Cat, Krat. He wanted to. We're gonna have some. It was like a GIF of Bob Ross and me squaring off, like to see who is the real Bob Ross. Of course. Oh, was it Nessie? Was it you that had the one thing where Bob? Let's see. Bob Ross cosplays Jim Wappel, right? I think it was something like that. I approve of that. I know there was also a me competing with Chuck Norris type thing, and Chuck Norris didn't stand a chance. He had no shot. Oh,
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
oh, thank you, Urza Archetype, for the follow. Gandalf approves, and Thunderhead Studio. Yep. Now, yeah, let's see, probably, I don't know, a week from now, a week and a half or so, I'll also take this and sort of remaster it and put up on the YouTube channel. Because I think I'm about to put the one where I was painting me. Oh, I think I already did put that. No, okay. Yeah, I think I'll put that one up on, it's up on YouTube now. I just haven't made it active. That's what it is. Or public yet. I haven't published it. Because I guess even when you're a partner, these things still go away after 60 days, so they're just like never permanent, which I'm like, oh man. So I always try to save the footage so that I can sort of remaster it later on. Here, let's get his hands a little bit lighter here. Ah, it was New Way Designs that started the jokes. because I've even been, some folks have sent me messages. I know Nessie sent one, kind of a compilation of quotes, and I think you might have sent me one too that had just a, hey, here's what some of the more hilarious quotes from the latest stream. But thanks everybody for making that little counter move towards the right there as well. That's very cool. I just remembered to look at that. Yeah, so this is kind of a fun medal here to actually be able to include some of the greens into that, because it's kind of been a while since I was last able to throw something like greens in there. But we're still gonna have to throw some of our pinks in there. But now I just wanna test this out. Where the heck did this go? Is this it? No, that's not it. Here it is. So these just came in today. I just wanted to experiment. So this is a 000. It is it's a Dick Blick one, but it's a natural. Usually I'm using the synthetics, but this one's more of a natural one. So we'll see what it can do. Let's see what happens when paint hits it. Basically, every time I've gotten something that's supposed to be a really cool, nifty, fantastic natural hair brush, it just was a disappointment, to say the least. So we'll see if this disappoints or not. We'll start out here with trying it on some of our freehand here. But as always, we're not going to do all of this the same level brightness. We're going to pick some of it. So what I can see is it's okay doing lines. I don't know about other things that aren't lines. And I can see that it's got one of those little hairs I'll have to cut off. That's really not unusual for brushes. Yeah, let me see if I can snip that thing off of there. And of course do it on camera, no less. Let's see if that gets rid of it. That people are going to be tuning in this going, what the heck is he doing to that brush? It's brush surgery. Alright, so it does okay on straight lines, but that's not necessarily a surprise. I've seen that with other natural hair brushes, that they're okay doing the straight lines, but as soon as you try and do something that's got some angles to it or whatever, it's a different. Let's see, any plans to remaster the Egyptian? It should still. Oh, it's is that you're talking about the one on the Egyptian base? Oh, it's right here. So is this the one that you were talking about there, Olim? I think I either already have that up on the YouTube channel or it's going to be. But I think it might have been long enough. Geez, was that 2 weeks ago already? I didn't think it was 2 weeks ago. I'm just used to doing that with the green handle brushes. I do that all the time with them. Oh, let's see if we can get this little bit of light in here. It's basically a little tiny thing at the end, and it's really, I don't even know if I could separate that thing out without making the whole brush splay out. Ooh, we need gold here, and gold means orange. There we go. Means a little bit of orange. Oh, that's right, you didn't get a chance to use yours yet. Now, hopefully you can, I don't know how much more I'll use this here, but every brush has to get broken in anyways. Even these guys here, I have to break those in, and there's always one little stupid hair at the end. Well, it's a little longer. Sometimes they're like 1/8 of an inch sticking out off the end of the brush. I have no idea how the heck that even happens. Let's give this guy some eyes. Okay, so yeah, this will have to be sort of reconditioned here, because it does okay on these lines. It's doing okay on the hair over here, but it definitely doesn't like doing these smaller dots. But I know it could just mean that it has to be kind of broken in. It also doesn't have, well, because it's a natural hair brush, it doesn't quite have that resistance, that little bit of snap that the synthetic brushes have. And who knows, there might be little gobs of little fibers coming from the chamois sponge too. Oh, let's see. Oh, he said, I totally got those green brushes. Yeah, they're just, well, the thing is, they take so much of the punishment. So when I start doing those other ones, I'm going back to the big old brushes on those. We're just doing a little temporary reprieve here. Oh, let's get some of that pink in there. Let's get some pink in this armor here. We got green. Let's get some pink in there. There we go. Let's get some over here too. I think we need some more lights. Oh, there's about some pink right here too, because, well, you know, it's pink. Let's see about maybe some turquoise. Like that. Yeah, just a little hint of it. For everyone's enjoyment, let's see, I won't be able to click on that here because I'm doing, let's see, I'm just checking up on the chat here. I try to remember to do that every so often. But as I'm learning about Twitch, sometimes you're just having basically a conversation amongst yourselves because you see the other folks that you know, and I'll be looking at that going, wait a minute. And then I realize, no, they are not saying hello to me for the 15th time. They're just saying hello to the other folks. Oh, it is. I'm not used to, yeah, that is, well, typically I'm working on a whole bunch of figures all at once, and it's the down and dirty stage on all of them all at once. When I'm doing the live streams here, I try to, because, you know, people come in later and they'll say, oh man, what'd you do there? And this way, at least I have a shot at saying, well, okay, this is what I did. Here, let's get some of those long vertical highlights like this, but not totally all complete all the way down. They have to have some breaks in them. Gotta have some breaks in those. So yeah, I mean, so far these have some potential for some things, but I think I'm gonna stick with well, I've got more of the Series 7. This is also supposed to take some of the strain off of the Series 7s so that those can last even longer, because that's a good thing. Now there's one other part of my pattern that I've got to do here. All right, we'll just do the 3 little kind of ovals here. Like so. Can you see it? I do believe so. Let's go from here to here. Yeah, well, Kathy's probably going to be doing her freehand tomorrow on the elf bust, which means maybe she'll be messing around with one of these too. So you'll be able to hopefully see her doing that. Because what's tomorrow? Wednesday, I think? I don't really remember. I think I should just make up my own calendar too. I make up my own time. I make up my own time frame. I should make up my own calendar as well. Just going to get some more water here so that flows. Get each of these in the center. Good enough for that. Now I am just going to go back to my regular. Where'd you go? Now this must be the one. Let's give him some eyes. We also got to give him some bangs under those eyes. I'm just looking at this, go, wow, yeah. Oh, he's also Mad Jack from Grizzly Adams, which is hilarious. Somebody must have had a lot of fun with that, except these are sculpted by folks in Spain. So somebody must have had a special request or whatever for them to basically sculpt Mad Jack here. So I am going to... if I turn down the light a little bit, now it's going to be hard for me to see. That's the one weird thing about all of this stuff is if I turn down the light, you guys can see way more. A heck of a lot more than I can. I can't see much of anything right now. There, we'll just... Oh, we need to get some of this here too. Yeah. With the chainmail too, I realized that it's not, you don't highlight all of the little links quite in a row. Is as I would look at the pictures of the cosplayers and stuff, I'd be like, oh, it's each link of that is not quite squared up to the other one. All right, let's do some of that. Actually, I've got a miniature here. It's one of the mountains, man. Come on. It's kind of a similar armor plate here. We're trying to do a similar thing. See all the green and all the purple, all the crazy colors in there. That's similar to what we're doing here. Let's just do our black and white thing here real quick. Sort of like boom, like that. So now you see you got your shading and such there. But when we bring back the color intensity, there you go. You got all those, the crazy quilt of colors are back. And I'm gonna, let's get some of my green liner here. We're gonna do a little bit of blending of that. Back to my purple. Oh, the stream I meant was before the Storm Thunder kicks the that one there. Geez, I thought I had already done that. I have the video of it. Now I know which figure you're talking about. So that was, that's too far away for me to get, but I think I know which one you're talking about. Now, some of them, they're really long. Like that one, I think was about a 4-hour stream or something like that. So I might have to cut some of it down to get that up on YouTube. Here we go. Especially, well, I don't know, where I tried doing the slideshows, or maybe I wasn't doing the slideshows then, but I didn't realize that I didn't have a mic. There was no mic connected to that, because OBS works really differently, way differently than XSplit does. And all of a sudden I realized to my horror that when I went to show people the pictures,
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my gun.
They couldn't hear a word that I said. As Aeon Drummond, thank you for the follow. Gandalf approves. Now we can start to, we're going to deal out a few more contrasts here. This is that green liner. Again, it's not just for drawing lines. This is all of our first colors were all the liner paints. That's just, I wish they had chosen names other than clear and liner paints, because people hear those things and they just naturally assume that it's like a clear paint, like an ink, but it's not. It's just basically straight up red. It's straight up blue. It's straight up green. That's why there's not a bazillion colors of them, because as soon as you start to make all those other colors, well, you don't have pure pigment anymore. Okay, do I want to do... I don't know if I'm going to actually do the stag on here, but I am going to maybe just do some kind of little pattern down here, just cause. And maybe I'll just do some of the same kind of pattern that I've done on the base. I don't know. Anything? Yeah. Let's. I might even bring out some of the Pro Acryl. I think it's the titanium white if I've got it here. Otherwise, I won't. But it is a super, super intense bright white that covers everything. And it's good for some of those brightest of bright highlights. Here we're going to get a few other darker. See, the armor just starts to have so much more going on with it. Oh, let's get in here with our... Look at this, green and purple make a really nifty gray. Let's see, aren't the clears just one straight pigment mixed with medium? That is pretty much, that's kind of what it is. It's just a bunch of pigment, and that means that you can do more with it. I've started to just compare more to the Chimera colors than anything else. As New Way Design says, I just blinked and there's an ornate floor. Yeah, it's not too elaborate. It's some simple lines just to make that happen. I'll do it again on another one. I've got three other ones that have this straight up marble floors like that, and then there's a couple that have sort of part of a marble floor. So we'll bounce back and forth between those. That you'll definitely go ahead and steal away. Now I think there is. I might have. There might be already a YouTube live session where I think I painted him. Actually, I might have painted him and Alistair Florent, maybe. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's already. Yeah, and I might have done the base on that one too. So that could already be up on YouTube. Well, I'm just looking to make sure that I'm caught up on the chat. Now here, we got to do the same thing on his collar. We've got to get some kind of highlight right there. We need to define an edge here along this armor. It's all about the reflected lights and everything else. Oh yeah, oh boy, reflected lights. How did I completely space on this over here? This stuff literally, it bounces. It's like some kind of infinity mirror thing. It's kind of like bouncing off of each other a lot. Constantly bouncing off of each other. That was the craziest thing to learn. Because when you see the reference pictures of armor just kind of hanging in a museum somewhere, there's nothing going on. There's nobody standing next to it. It's not being lit by natural light or any of those kind of things. Oh, let's get this going here too. Yeah. We need some reflected light on his face, which I would prefer not to be just the same old skin tone. A little bit on his ear, a little bit on his cheek. I have been giving him kind of the red news treatment a little bit here, just to the whole winter is coming thing, but I don't want to make him look more like Santa Claus, though. Let's get some dark under the eyes. We're going to go with the same sort of... Boy, we already got palette sludge out there. Let's see. Kumagiri. I'm going to rewatch the VOD. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I will, like I said, I will eventually be remastering these kind of things. And he's just the first because we are going to be painting... For sure, the Melisandre will be doing this one next so we can get into some reds. But we'll have some freehand going here. Some of our non-metallic metals. Like you do, okay. Now let's get the... Okay, try and give him some of these bags under his eyes without them looking like makeup. Alright, now we've got the eye pretty well squared away. But we really got to do Mad Jack's bangs right there. And I think that means getting into some of our maiden flesh here. We will maybe throw in a little bit of the orange. That's that clear orange again. That's the Reaper Clear. Oh, we got to give him some furrows in his brow too, I think. Alright, so hopefully that's going to start to look like bangs under his eyes. Because I think they were actually kind of sculpted in here. Kind of, sort of. Gonna get some on his nose here. Let's do his, again, his cheek there. And then trying to get something under his eyes. And we've got to put something, well, in his eyes because he's got no pupils or iris or anything like that. I got to double check the card here. Oh, they're just sort of like a blue, sort of like a blue-gray, it seems. That's pretty standard. Now, which way do I want him to be looking here? At you or off to the side? It's actually kind of an important thing to make that choice. Which way are they going to be looking? And here it's going to be more just sort of right at you. And with all those darks in their place, now let's see if we can do the... This is a nice little way of getting a twofer again. So if I can paint myself a little bit of a lighter color in between the eyebrow and the eyelid, the upper eyelid, it's like I'm drawing both of these with one brush stroke instead of trying to screw around and draw them both. I forget when exactly I ran across that little thing. I think it was actually painting these guys because there were so many of them. And the way the faces were sculpted just kind of got me doing that. So see, there's another one again. By default, it creates an upper and lower lid just by itself. Now, speaking of things by itself, I was working with the oils. Yeah, I was working with the oils. Was that in the last... It was either the last live stream or it was a follow-up video. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I'll do, especially with units, is I might start something like on a Twitch stream, and then I'll finish it off for a Patreon video or something along those lines. I've done that too. Or sometimes I've taken things that started in a Patreon video. Maybe I did the basing for a Patreon video, and then the painting part of it, like the dark sword owl bears. That's right. That's what I was trying to remember in my very tired brain. That's it. See, I still got some of my greens in there. I don't want to lose those colors in his hair. That's kind of important to hang on to those. I'm going to have to get some kind of darks into his fingers here. Sometimes, now again, the advantage of these is they're one piece. They're pretty much indestructible. However, they're one piece and indestructible, which means that mold lines are going to get into places that are kind of painful. There will be times where just that mold line is just going to have to stay there, or you're just going to be tearing up the whole miniature. So everything is, it's always a trade-off. Everything has a price, I guess. Well, anything that makes it easier has a price, I suppose. Now, what do we want to do with those pants? There's got to be something more going on there than what there is. And I'm thinking, I want to see what happens with this particular kind of a yellowish green here. See what that does. I mean, I could even put some little stripes on here, but I think I'm just going to go with this little touch of green, and it's going to look more like gray when it's all said and done. I think because it'll give me a little bit of separation from that, from his cloak there, robe, cloak, whatever that is. Let's see if I take some of the faded ultramarine here, mix that in. Remember, purple and green make gray, but definitely a more interesting gray than that dead, nasty gray. I still can't believe to this day, and it was years ago when I first saw, it was a certain company, I won't say which one it was, but they were selling this for $50, something along, this was years ago, $50. This is a set of 10 gray paints, where literally all they did was they took white and black and mixed them together to varying degrees, put them in jars, and said, "This is cool. Now give us $50 for this." And that's when I did a painting video called Shades of Gray, pretty much out of disgust when I saw that. I said, "You gotta be freaking kidding me." So I just took a few different colors, purples, greens, whatever, and I made an entire video where you're painting with different types of gray. Gray that was borderline blue, gray that was borderline green, pink, whatever. Like here, this is practically straight up faded ultramarine that we are highlighting his pants with. Same faded ultramarine we were using up here for stuff. Now I'm going to get a little bit more of my light here. There we go. I need a little more structure to that particular layer. If it's going to be that bold. But this is that refinement we're talking about, right? We've spent less than an hour on this dude. Right here, we did freehand on the base. We did his face. We did armor, all this kind of stuff. And it's been an hour. That's it. Man, barely an hour. Probably less because there was other figures that I just realized that. I was actually painting some other figures too. So it could be as little as maybe 45 minutes of actual, genuine painting time. And this is the kind of stuff, like I say, on the Patreon page, I take you through the army painting process, and it's basically like this, except we're working on those entire units. I'm pretty sure that I've got these stag knights on the YouTube channel now. And that would be these guys. Where'd you go? Come on. Are you the stag knights? Yes, you are. So this was a previous, one of the first long streams that I did. So get lots of non-metallic metals and that sort of thing. But I can take you there. Let me show you. Well, let's see, I haven't done purple and green yet for that gray, mostly black and white. It's just that purple and green. They make such natural grays, and it's such a neat variety. Now here's another, this is actually the very first Song of Ice and Fire unit that I did, and this is, oh gosh, a very early army painting series here. And you can see there, the armor is different than this guy. It's got that kind of classic sky earth going on, where you got the shiny blue, right? But it's also reflecting the red of their armor there, or the cloaks. Again, more red. And oh, look, some freehand here. So all of the things, they start out with basing, and then they move on from there to the color test figure. So like this guy would maybe be a color test figure. Now I see something happen with even though it was like a delayed reaction here. We'll still, he's gonna drink out of that cup. He won't burp just yet. All right, so we can, let's maybe set him aside and let's start on what the heck is her name? Melisandre. So we'll go back to him in a little bit, but I want to also get the next one underway here. So we'll set him aside. I'm gonna get out this card here, and we'll see what we can do with this one here. So we've got card, we've got figure in the hand. Let's dive into our. Oh, that's just some backlighting now. Dive into our clear red over here, like you do. Mixing it into some pre-existing palette sludge. Now, actually, these reds here, they're going to have to be sort of a mix of warm and cold. Sort of a mix of the two. We're going to have gold trim there, okay. But the neat thing about the clear red is that all of that stuff that I did, see, that's still showing through. And I don't see any difference between, say, the outer garment and the inner garment. So I'm just going to put that aside so I can get this going a little bit faster here. And see, now I got my nice old filbert brush like so. Because I want to be able to work a little bit of wet into wet on this. And I can't do that if I'm just going too slow. I get a little bit of that. That's the red liner. Again, that's another Reaper thing. I just wish they hadn't called it liner paint, just like I wish they hadn't called it clear paint. Because people just, oh my gosh. They said, well, that's all you can do with it is draw lines. I said, no, that's not how that goes. Now we've got most of our reds in here. So instead of reaching for what usually say yellow to lightening that up, let's see, Margaery, that Nessie's at. Yeah, they're red now. Oh, yeah, we'll get that going too. We'll get some orange there, but now this is where we're gonna grab something like, oh, I don't know, the faded plum instead of, say, the orange, which is something I would normally use. But there we go. See, it's giving me a lighter red, but a different type of red instead of that orangey red. And once we get this going well enough, I'll go back to those pyromancers that have those red cloaks, because their red is that sort of classic, very kind of orange red, that warmer red. This, to me, seemed like it had to be more of a, I guess, a burgundy type color, maybe-ish. I don't know. Again, I would have liked to be able to chop this thing off the base and do that same exact basing that I did on the other one with the Sculpey, but well, this one's actually, like all the rest of the Baratheons, are a commission thing, and when it's for me, I don't mind. Well, if something goes horribly wrong trying to chop a miniature off a base, it's just mine, whatever, I fix it. When it's for somebody else, maybe a little different story. But look at that. Look at how nifty that is. The clear, again, the clear red and the faded plum. Oh, let's see. I could have done that with the mini I painted last week with that. What is that? Is that Dooku or whatever his name is, right? Well, I just kept thinking Saruman. Saruman with the lightsaber. Because I remember you were using, what did you used something for his lightsaber, and then you kind of said, oh man, I wish I had kind of done this step first. I remember, because you were, well, it was on your Twitch stream, and don't forget to give Nessie also a follow. Follow Thunderdome, Technocat, Cosplaying Kitten, follow everybody. Because Gandalf says so. Ah, we've got ourselves a cheer from Lord Dave. So that means, well, that means a reading from the Book of Wappel. So this is going to be, I believe this is chapter 3. You can't take the voyage of discovery if you never get on the boat. And Voyage of Discovery can be a lot of different things. It can be as dramatic as trying oils or something like that, or doing the sponges and the big brushes like this when you've never done that before. Sometimes it can just
So
be,
say we all.
as we have Clickster23 has subscribed. Well, that does have to bring out. That's got to bring out the Wappel. He's just trying to drink all those in right there. That's Wappelius Spellbrush says thank you. Well, and so do I. Thank you very much. I guess the ticker has officially gone further towards the right than the left now. What's weird is not all of them show up there, which is not quite sure why that is. There's still a lot of things that are very mysterious yet about Twitch, but at least my little emoticons, at least some of them are working. The subscriber badges, so there should be people should have I don't get paint on the card. Well, actually, I do have a second one. But what's weird is well, you need the cards, especially what the heck, the action cards, right? You especially need those. But there are no codexes for the game, so yeah, if you get paint over one of the abilities or something like that, that could be bad. That could definitely be the last place you want paint, as we get a little bit more of our faded plum in here. Now, I'm not going to have all of it be this color as the lightning agent, as we'll just call it that. But we'll do it in some. See how it's given us just an entirely different look there for our reds. And I'm waiting for this to be developed enough so that you would see a real difference between, say, this kind of red and where's my pyros again? Boom. So you see how that's a much more orangey red? Well, guess what? It started out as the same red liner, clear red, and then over the top of that we mixed in basically the yellow. Oh, Pixel Cat's trying the oils right now. Well, that's cool. I hope that they are. I really hope that they're fun for you, because man, to me, they are. I could ditch all my other paints and just use the oils. I know Faded Ultramarine ain't going to like that. Doesn't like to hear that. But here we're going to take a little different tack on some of these reds here. So that's the Maiden Flesh mixed in there with the red. But I am going to a touch of the yellow in here. Just a little bit of it. Because I want everything to be the same red. So we're going to change our reds around here a little bit. Like you do. There we go. Because I'm thinking maybe closer towards the base in some ways. It's going to be more of the Faded Ultramarine as your lighter color, because of, well, the colors in the base, like that blue liner down there. I might even try to get some green liner into the shadows of the reds. I have to look, is there any trim? Okay, so there is going to be trim on there. I see that here. Gold, okay, that's one heck of a necklace there. Looks like there's lots of gemstones in that. Oh, Rick the Banana. Eric the Banana. Where is Eric the Banana? How did he get in here? Oh, and the Bug King is in here. Oils are a path I have not taken yet. Really want to go there, though. And the crazy thing is, and I was just, oh gosh, who was I just saying? I think it was, I was in Drax's stream last night. We were talking about the oils, and someone asked about them. And I said, well, I mean, they're the cheapest paint to get into. Well, unless you're getting into the clear and liners, because this is all we use. And Kathy uses a ton of these. Now, she mixes in a lot of the fun secret weapon ones and like the purple heat. I think purple heat, or is it blue heat? That's like her version of this. Yeah, I think purple heat is her version of the Faded Ultramarine. It gets on the palette even when she doesn't put it on there. Closer to a torque than a necklace. Well, that makes sense because, man, don't some of those torques weigh about 5 pounds? They could pretty much break your neck just by wearing the darn things. So see how we've got two different reds working right next to each other, kind of side by side there. This, and then you got your faded ultramarine reds. Look at this. One strand that, one strand that, and then back to...
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my gun, John.
As Clickster follows and Gandalf says hello. Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate that. Yeah, gotta remember that is gonna have to be... That's gonna have to be some gold trim there. Yeah, now I'm gonna just, while I'm thinking about it here, I'm just gonna throw a little bit of yellow into that skin tone because her skin tone, we want to be a little bit different than old man, whatever his name is, whose card I put somewhere else. It's somewhere. I don't even know where I put that card. It's off to the side, hopefully somewhere safe where I won't get paint all over it. But I am going to get some of the maiden flesh here. Look at this. We're just going to make a skin tone out of this just cause. Kathy was working on skin tones for most of the stream today on her nifty elf. Which we'll have to get that 3D printer up and working so that we can print more of them for her and she can paint it in different color schemes. Oh, let's see. The Book King, if it's gold, it could weigh close to 25 pounds. Well, I swear there was one of those, I don't know if it was a History of Britain or 7 Ages of Britain. Somebody actually put one of those things on and it almost, their whole body just kind of leaned forward because it was so darn heavy. Oh, Bug King asked if we do one-on-one classes. That's something that I'm trying to do, well, especially now, just with conventions being in the condition that they are. It's something that I would either do like a Google Hangout or something like that. And scheduling those was always a problem because, well, conventions and doing all of the regular tutorial videos, well, conventions, we don't have to worry about those getting in the way of scheduling. So that is something we're trying to figure out. And then how would it work? Would it just be where you say, hey, Jim, can I watch you paint one of those Dol Amroth? I got Dol Amroth over here. I know someone, they've got Rohan cavalry, and I got my whole freaking Rohan army still. Well, my cavalry that I want to paint. And he said, hey, can we just get together either? Well, it would have to be something like a Google Hangout. And can we just paint our Rohan cavalry in oils at the same time? So those are the kind of things that I'm trying to work out. So hopefully that's an answer for you. Kumagiri asking what is Bug King's current project, which is does Kingdom Death. Okay, yeah, okay. I actually have some of those somewhere. I think they were some of the 35mm plastic ones. It was like a set of 10 or something. I think it even came out before the big old board game did. Or not board game, but the game, you know what I mean. So again, this skin tone made of a lot of the same colors that the reds in her cloak is. Now let's get her here. That's going to require a little more of the orange. So you see how that clear red is sort of the base, but then we start to add other stuff to it. We're going to take the red liner and the yellow. We'll mix these together here. So also, it is a board game. It's a $420 board game, at least if I remember right. Now, I don't know how many miniatures it's got. I'm sure there's a bunch. But that, I don't know if it set a record as like the most expensive board game out there. But look at the difference that makes. And did I have to look around for just the right red for the hair? Did I have to look around for the right reds for anything here? Heck no. it has about 50 miniatures in it. Okay. It has, yep, it has figures you gotta assemble and stuff. Now, they must all be resin, right? I'm assuming it's a bit like the, oh, what's that, the Harry Potter game, maybe? It has to be kind of close to that. Because was it Night Models or whatever did the Harry Potter game? Actually, I have, I think, 3 of those. No, maybe even 4 that I'll try and paint here on live streams too. At least 3, and I think there might even be a 4th that someone else sent me to. So I'm just gonna get some of this gold-ish trim here real quick before I forget about it. I'll probably end up getting some of the red painted over it anyways. But no matter what, it's there, so I won't forget it. There's some funky sleeves she's got going on here. Not sure if that even gets any trim there or not. Looks like maybe it does. Stitching there. I'm just marking some stuff here. Oh, let's go back into the hair again. Something that's going to be a little bit lighter here. All hard plastic. Survivor kits are extremely modular. So arm and hand choices. Okay, it's always kind of nice to at least have that much control over what you're building there. Multiple heads, multiple leg poses, and they can even be swapped with different sets within the kit. Now, is that something? So it wasn't just the Kickstarter, right? Well, I don't know if any place retail is selling that retail. I'm sure it just kind of you have to order it from them at $4.20. I'm just thinking that's not a typical sort of, what would you say, off-the-shelf impulse purchase. It's not quite a Zombicide. See, look at her here now. Gets to be. Let's bring her back out here again. So yes, it's in the red family. This is why one of the original painting pyramid videos that I did way back in the day was about reds, because reds can be they can be almost purple, they can be darn near pink, they can be everything in between. You can put greens in the shadows of your reds. They only direct sell it. Okay, that sounds about right. Yeah, I think some of the Kingdom Death monsters, I suppose I wouldn't be able to paint those on the stream here, because apparently there's a thing about exposure of parts. Now, when I was reading the thing that Twitch sends you, I took it to mean like that you yourself should not, shall we say, I don't know, have letting yourself get sunburned in weird places. But apparently, I guess it could mean miniatures too, which that's unfortunate, because there was definitely some nifty miniatures that I was going to, and 72 mils and stuff that I was going to paint on the stream, but I guess I thought it was just YouTube that was going to put the kibosh on those. I know some people have, I guess, apparently painted, can't paint distracted to Twitch either. So yeah, I don't know. I could potentially sculpt something over those, and then, oh yeah, okay, all the natty bits are covered. Oh my gosh, all the scary things that are going to kill people, they're covered. Yeah, let's get some more skin tones in here, like you do. Giving that a little more life to it. I still need to get some greens and other purples in there and all that, but for now, once again, we've been using the big old brush, right? All right, I'm going to find, there's this card. So I found the card. Where's the guy? There's the guy. So we're an hour and a half in. Some folks use Silly Putty as a mask, but it's just, yeah, I'm just starting to figure, okay, well, if that's how they're going to be, then I just won't. I guess those will just have to be Patreon videos then, sadly, because as long as it's unlisted, nobody seems to care, because there's no monetization involved or anything. They're not showing ads to anybody. Yeah, so it's not like I won't do the tutorial videos. They will just have to, well, as Gandalf says, keep it secret, keep it safe. We'll just have to do something like that. And it's going to start to indicate a little bit of color in the cheekbones there. And then we can move on to our smaller brush in a second, but I wanted to show how much you can do. And look at that. That tip right there, right? It has all this paint in there. Oh, it's Lady B Miniatures. How are you doing? I'm just right now having some fun with the new Baratheon Heroes here. So we just did, who was this guy again? Eldon Estermont. So we painted him in the first hour. So now in hour number 2, we're going with Melisandre. Melisandre. Okay, let's do back to our plum over here. I'll get a little bit of my clear red going in there too. There we go. And then what I want to do is after some of this, I want to go into the darker recesses here. So here, look at on one side we've got the faded plum. On the other side we've got our sort of more of an orange, not quite the yellow, went more with the orange. And let's get some of the faded plum down here too. As I'm just basically trying to turn that a little bit on the purplish side because of its proximity to all of that, the dark blue there on the floor. Speaking of which, let's get to our base here. Now this is going to be a little bit tricky because she just covers up so much of it. So let's just orient it this way. I think you can see that. Yeah, you can. Just throw a line there. Next line over here. We're going to need to get in some of our swirls too. But first, gotta grab a little bit more of the lighter yellow. There's a little bit of a triangle. And that, okay, we've got our half circle. Now there's a lot more texture here. That's each of these bases has a texture on it, so that'll make it a little bit more interesting to try and paint these designs over the texture, but we can do that. Oh, let's see. Jumunjo, how's it going? Oh, oh, that's right. She's watching. It's 7:47, so there's still. No, actually, this will be the last episode here, and I'm assuming it's still that third Doctor, but now back in the TARDIS. And hopefully parallelogram and space Babo.
Who enters my domain?
Hey, we got Captain Madlove doing a raid entering my domain. Thanks, Captain Madlove. Sorry I didn't get to catch your stream while you were actually doing it, so definitely give a follow to Captain Madlove, although I'm guessing most everybody that's coming in here already does. And most everybody that's watching me already does. Hey, it's Raven Cat. How are you doing? I have Avalana7 and Megan Honey. Oh, we got raids and hype and all other kinds of fun stuff going on probably. So I guess, Wappelia Spellblade should probably greet you all. And he says hello. He says, hello, how are you? And we're doing a little bit of freehand, not like on his cloak, but on bases here. So this is the first figure that we did in hour 1. And I'll get his little card here. So this is Eldon Estermont. Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, let's see. Now, when did you first go? Oh, I was airbrushing downstairs. That's right. I was priming all of these guys because they were not prepped. So hopefully the technology has been cooperating. It's Feisty Crab, man. Hey, welcome back. How are you doing? I'm just gonna get my cards out of the way here. Let's see, was it yesterday that was the puppy stream, right? Where people kind of have pictures of their four-legged companions and such. And I was bummed that I couldn't watch that one either because, well, it seemed like there was going to be people showing off their pets, which is always fun. Let's see. I'm missing something here. Oh, I want tea. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Let's see. Her daytime tea is Earl Grey. The nighttime tea is a blueberry, a chai tea or something like that. And it's Drax in the house. Oh, hey, Samson Morgan, how's it going? Let's see.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Gandalf says thank you for the follow, Motor City Ray. So we're using our big old craft brushes here. And I will show you ye old package. So there's a dozen of them here. They are $4.99. These come from Hobby Lobby, but really, they're quite literally a dime a dozen. You can find them. There's a lot of other ones that you can find that do a real similar thing. I've found them at Michael's. I've just kind of found some of them even on Amazon. But what we're trying to do here is get a few different reds. We're not just looking to do red only. Just like on our armor here, there's actually greens in there. There's purples. There's blues. In his right here on his legs, that started out as a dark green, and then we actually highlighted it with faded ultramarine, which is sort of a purple type color. So these are all synthetic brushes. Yep, they are number 8 round craft brushes. And the nice thing is, okay, here let's grab this one because he's had some use already. We're gonna go back. I'm gonna paint. So we'll do this one next here after we finish Melisandre here, but check this out. So I'll show you the 2 different brushes. So this one has seen more use. This one is pretty much brand new. And you say, what in the world's up with this? This is basically a really wonderful filbert brush. It's better than a filbert brush. Oh, is Dragonheart in the house? I didn't see. Oh, and Eeny Meenies is here. Hey, how are you doing? I'm going to spin this around. Look at that. Those two look very much alike, don't they? But here is the nifty thing that I can do with Yield Craft Brush. So we can have a nice big old brush stroke like that, or we can do that. Or we can do both. Or we can do even broader brush strokes. Or thin. This is like a Swiss Army brush, basically. It's literally the Swiss Army knife of brushes. And we painted a goodly portion of this guy right here with one of those. So we're just going to break her back out again. And let's start to get some lighter skin tones in here, like you do. Again, these are all Reaper clear and liner paints for those that are curious. And please ignore how those names sound. They are not clear, nor are they just for lining things. They just, as always, miniature companies or paint have a tendency to, here's the 10 worst names, or the 10 possible names. We will pick the worst of the 10, and that's what we're going to call all of our stuff. So I don't know why they called them that. I guess they were just looking for something different. They're not clear. They just have a whole lot of pigment in them, as in a whole lot of pigment, which means that they give you some really fantastic, brilliant colors. And we're gonna actually, I'm gonna also work in some of the golds here now because we need something to compare. We're always talking about context here. We have to have something to compare this to. So we got clear yellow over here. Clear orange will make ourselves sort of a bit of a gold color here. But gold takes on many forms, especially depending on what it's next to. Now, let's see, Motor City Ray, I'm just looking to see. Oh, Mel, how's it going? Yeah, there's definitely, well, we just had the raid by Captain Madlove, and, well, I think it's kind of almost a joke for me to say you should follow Captain Madlove because everybody already is. I mean, it's because it's the captain. Everyone follows the captain. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a chance to do the multi-stream type thing. Who knows what kind of mayhem? And I mean, talk about barely controlled chaos. It would be absolutely, positively, 100% uncontrolled chaos. It would be wibbly wobbly, timey wimey kind of chaos for sure. And I'm just working in some of my lights. I want to go back into my midtones as soon as I get these little hints of lights on the golds. And for those wondering, these are Song of Ice and Fire miniatures. Basically, they are one piece, pretty much indestructible miniatures. All right, so with those in there, I want to do some more things here in the cloak. Now, this is the red liner. And again, it's I wish they hadn't called it that, but we can make ourselves a nice little rich dark. Oh, as we got Sam Tasmorga, full scale Jeremy Baramy Chaos. Yeah, let's get some darks in here, and then we've got to work in some of our midtones as well. So darks here again, just like with the armor. And I'll bring out what's his name in just a second. So remember the chain of highlights that we did, starting from his elbow all the way down here, all the way down to his hand. We're trying to do a similar thing here. We're trying to generate this chain of lights here. Now also, too, if this is supposed to be kind of a silky type fabric, we almost have to treat it like it's metal, which also then means some kind of reflections, reflected light. So here we've got actually some of the faded ultramarine. Let's see, I've got this many in the box set. Someday I'll paint them. Well, thank you very much, Motor City. It's appreciated. Oh, thanks, Lady B. I appreciate it. I was really glad that, well, there is a pretty humorous story about how I ended up painting these things. It was at a ReaperCon 2 years ago, and a certain person whose name is on the box, he walked up to me and says, "Oh man, Jim, what do you think of the Song of Ice and Fire figures?" I said, "Song of what?" And he's laughing. He's like, "Ah, yeah, right." And he thinks I'm messing around with him, but I had no idea what the heck he was talking about. And as things went along, he was getting he went from irritated to, well, then he was downright insulted when I said I'd never actually heard of Song of Ice and Fire and only watched one episode of the Game of Thrones show. So that kind of got him in an interesting mood. See, look at that. We're adding this floor color essentially as a reflection onto the red there, because it can't just be endless reds, because if it is, it's just not going to have much life to it. Now we will go to a somewhat smaller brush here because I want to start to do some of those kind of highlight type things because we have yet begun to highlight. Yeah, let's get a little bit of our maiden flesh into here too. And then he slaps down that big old starter box in front of me. He says, here, with a few colorful metaphors, he says, look at that. And then I saw the halberdiers for the first time. That was these guys. These were the very first figures that I ever saw. And when I first saw the raw figures, I thought, this is what I can do with them. And this was the first army painting series that I ever did. Was almost on these guys right here. I had so much fun with these. Yeah, I love my shiny armor. Well, you can probably tell. Oh, let's see. Sam says, yeah, now you just need to do the reflection of someone being burned alive in Melisandre's cloak. Something like that. Well, that's the disadvantage too of like not knowing the show or whatever. Because when it came time to paint the King's Guard, I'm like, okay, Jim, how the heck do I paint these guys? What are they supposed to look like? And because they didn't look anything like, because I looked at the show, right? I just did the Googles on the show. Oh, thanks for the follow, Motor City Ray. And it showed something very different. And he said, well, think of them like walking toilet bowls. So that's how I painted them. Literally is walking toilet bowls. Everything was, well, shades of white. If you haven't watched the show, read the book, it'll make no sense, but it's very accurate. Well, now, I don't have the figures out here, but there's like a mother and a daughter who clearly were in some kind of a fire or something like that. And there's those two figures. I don't know who they are. I didn't see their names, but they are also little NCUs like this. So yeah, they've got those. And I'm just assuming, I don't know, it wasn't the not expecting walking toilet bowls. Now I don't know because it kind of messes with my sound here, but I'm gonna see if I can. Oh, where the heck goes my little slideshow here? Let me see if it works here. 1 second. Where is my slideshow? Oh, here we go. So it'll play a few. So it sounds like I still have my sound at least. So there's your crossbowmen there. There's your flayed men. There they are. There's the walking toilet bowls. So yeah. Oh, and then the Knights of Castlery Rock. A little bit of Cersei over there. Some more of our NCUs. So yeah. Oh, some Starks, some Tullys. Yeah, we'll go back to our regularly scheduled programming here. But those are just a few of the units that I've painted on the YouTube channel. I've got a whole bunch of Song of Ice and Fire tutorials. I do believe this weekend I will be for sure on, I think it's Saturday, I will be doing all kinds of live streaming on the Twitch channel of Song of Ice and Fire miniatures, most likely Targaryens. Who knows? Maybe a couple more of these too. Maybe a few more. All right, let's switch up real quick here and let's start to do some stuff on the face like you do. And I'm just going to get the card back over here where I can see it. No, Megan Hayne, very impressive. Even though I did well, unfortunately, I don't get to really watch any shows because I'm either doing this or I'm recording videos. And I can't do any of those things or edit them while I'm watching shows. Then actually, Jim suggested, well, what the heck, get the audiobooks. And I said, well, Jim, unless I'm going to be listening to the audiobook while I'm on Twitch, that's not going to work out either. So I'm not quite sure if I'll ever get to see the show, which I guess it's over, sort of. There's talk of sequels. Oh, Motor City Ray, I will be there. Maybe you can start on my box set too. Well, that's cool because I have the I have the box set. I've got the Screamers. And do I have the Zorse Riders here? Ah, yes, yes, yes. So this is one of the things I was hoping, the Bloody Mummer Zorse Riders. I was hoping to maybe paint some of these this weekend too on the stream. Because, I mean, they're zebras with dudes on them. So that's cool. I got to give that a shot. Oh, let's see. I'm just trying to get caught up here. I think I'm almost caught up. At this point, it might be weird if I did watch it or read it. Well, yeah, there was the whole the eighth season that everybody hated, which actually that started some conversations about Battlestar Galactica and how if there had been the kind of social media back in what was that 2005-ish that there is now, what kind of backlash would there have been for the folks that made that back then? You know, would it have been even that much more intense of a reaction? Because there were folks that weren't super happy about how that one ended either. Like on many levels, dissatisfaction with how that thing ended. And I think I read a couple articles on, would it have been pretty bad? Let's see, so you can skip the last season if you ever started the book series. And that is yet another kind of a bugaboo right there, because it's almost like he's maybe not finishing it on purpose because just he gets bugged about it so often that he's just going to make people wait and wait and wait. So we're going to keep going here with some. Got to get some reflected light on this side of the face. I'm also going to have to get some golds there on her. We're just going to call that a torque, because if that is a necklace, it's got to be one of the heaviest necklaces in the history of neckwear. And then I'll have to get some gemstones over that too. Let's work in. Get a couple more of the gold. Let's get some stitching here. What is that? Okay, so it's just a little bit of gold. A little bit of gold stitching there. We'll do something like that. Let's see. I'm just getting caught again. The books are great though. Oh yeah, that was another show that people were not happy how that one ended either. Actually, I'm not quite sure. Were there any shows where people were actually happy with how they ended? I'm trying to think of some. Because people weren't necessarily happy even about Babylon 5, which is still always going to be my favorite show. And apparently they can't remaster it because they lost a lot of the original footage or the original tape. Something happened to them. So here, look at this. We're just gonna, just like we did on the other guy, we're gonna try and get a twofer here on the eyes. We're just doing the dark above that, like you do, because that's what we did here. And then we put that little bit of kind of mid-tone in between the upper and lower eyelids there. Oh, because wasn't it like every year after season 2 that they said, well, we might be canceled, we might not be? And that led to, well, the kind of mayhem I guess you would expect. I actually have, well, and you can go to the blog, it's Wappelius, blogspot.com. Who would have thought it would be Wappelius? You can go there, and actually you can see, I'm going to give this maybe a little bit more of a skin color here too. I got tons of Babylon 5 art that I did. And I actually have several paintings signed by Mira Furlan, signed by Peter Jurasik. Because I used to sell actually paintings at conventions many years ago. That's what I used to do. And portrait painting was kind of my thing. Just gonna do lower lid here. And just indicate a few eye there. Get back to our eyebrows. Let's get some cooler colors in there too. It can't all just be endless warm. Endless warm skin tones. We can narrow down some of the lights that we put there. Again, just sticking with a few simple Reaper clears, and then stuff like the maggot white and the maiden flesh, just to have some off whites. Now eye color, sort of a, I guess like a blue. I'm gonna see. I might actually change. I'm gonna change the one eye. See if I can actually have her looking off to the side like that, because maybe that's what. I'm just like, oh, it's zesty taco in the house. Oh, that's making me want tacos. Well, I have the fixins to make burritos tomorrow. Well, at least the stuff that goes in the burrito. I have the fixins for that. So I want to try and do that. Now I'm going to take this blue over here. Let's get a little bit of the green liner and see if I can do some, put the eyes in a different spot here and have them looking off to the left. So that's going to be, that's the challenge right now. See if we can do that. Get some of the extra junk out of the way. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of a, I've never really had a character doing that before, so now she's kind of looking off to the right. That's pretty hilarious. I have not really done something like that. Now, we are going to, actually I'm just going to throw some more clear red out on the palette here. Let's see. Yeah, oh, Kelly, how's it going? Geez, man, I was going to shoot you a message tonight. Well, now you're actually here. But speaking of Rohan, yeah, I want to do some sculpting of. I've got the figures set up to sculpt some Royal Guard conversion type stuff. I'm gonna try and do that later this week, so that then you and I can try and do our painting of Rohan stuff, because it's Rohan. And I think, where are they? Yeah, I've got them set up. The ones that have the armor that looks most like the Royal Guard. Now I'm starting to get some darks in here. Oh, Ruined, how are you? Ruined at 15. How are you doing there? I'm just making sure. What I liked about B5 is that the humans were not masters of the universe. In fact, they should have been wiped out by a much more powerful older race. So I thought that was kind of cool. I thought it was, you had all of the interesting stuff going on with the Night Watch, and the economics were a big part of it too. And well, there was, remember the one episode where an entire species, they got wiped out and they were there on the station, and that always at Delenn and Lanier ended up in that kind of locked away with them, and the only people that came out was Delenn and Lanier. Then there was the one, was it Day of the Dead or whatever, when the one species basically bought the station for one night or something, and Jakar is going nuts because he knows what's going to happen, and nobody will listen to him. Well, kind of nobody listens to Jakar anyways until it's too late. That was, yeah, I did enjoy that. There was just so many fun episodes there. Oh, you still haven't made your cod oils yet. I need to get them done. What do you use to clean the brushes? Actually, what I start out with is the white spirits, right? That you're going to use to thin down the paint. It's basically the white spirits that's kind of muddy and dirty from painting. I'll use that, and then I just take rubbing alcohol and do the rest. Oh, Ruined is doing well, and it did rewatch B5. Now, hopefully it's still there because that's where I got to rewatch it last year. I hope it's still there. Although I think maybe the DVDs are not as expensive as they used to be. That used to be really, really expensive to get on DVD. Now let's get some dark center here. But you can see, look, I've mixed red with a turquoise color. Oh, Day of the Dead was written by Neil Gaiman. And was it just a one night or was it a series of nights? And it was just that part of the station. If you were on that part of the station, basically dead people in your life kind of came back. And let's see, you had I don't know if Sheridan was one of those, but for sure it was Garibaldi. It was, oh, might have been Londo. Yeah, I think it was Londo. The new captain, I forget what the heck her name was, but she was part of that too. Now I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna look at her here. Yeah, we need to get some lighter highlights in the hair there too. Oh yeah, Londo definitely had to be one of side eye. Yeah, she's got the side eye. She's looking off to the side here. I'm really glad that worked out. Wasn't sure how it would, but because when you have the eyes in those extreme position there, you never quite know. Now let's get some. I'm just gonna get some highlights here on her face. Get some stuff on the chin here. Right here, need to combination to make that a little bit more of a shadow color, but then also give it some brightness. I'm gonna see if I can't go lighter with that's your faded plum there, everybody's new favorite color, because it just has the name faded in it. Yeah, let's get another little highlight right here. So what I might have to do is that backdrop that Sam mentioned, I might have to do another one of these with a painted backdrop or something so that I can work that in. Here, let's get some of the faded plum into the skin tone here before I hit the hair. Like you do. There. Alright. Orange, 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 orange. A little touch of the yellow here. It's going to end up being almost a bit like a skin color. But hopefully there's enough orange in there to keep it away from just the skin color. And let's see. Faded means you are cool. Yeah. Oh, geez. Is that why when were faded jeans, like in the 80s, right? Is that why faded jeans were so popular? It wasn't because people liked the faded jeans. They just wanted to be more like faded ultramarine. That's possible. That is, in fact, I think that is the explanation for it. And I think Nessie agrees with me. Yeah, see, it makes sense. It makes perfect, total sense. Now, I think the top of her head is another one of those places where what does it say? A river runs through it? Well, a mold line runs through it. So there I'm just sort of painting in some of the detail that had to be kind of annihilated by oh yeah, sanding sticks. If you're looking for ways to get rid of the mold lines on these, here, it's these guys. It's dirt cheap on Amazon. There's something like 25 or 40 of them or whatever. And the nifty thing is that all of these are different grits. So some of them are really a heavy grit, and then some of them are more of a fine grit like this. So you start out with the heavier, and then you use it finer. And that way you're getting rid of the mold lines. So like here is another example. So Craster right here. This is, I think he's a free folk hero. That's right. So this is, again, another one of these. It's a one-piece figure. But you can have fun with these, right? There's all kinds of nifty stuff going on with all the different colors there too. And we're going to find ourselves, let's see. And it's really fun. I love doing basically we got the icicles, we got the snow, we got everything else. So again, another Song of Ice and Fire miniature, but you can see that there's greens, oranges, browns. Look at that cloak right there. And you can see about a bazillion different colors. Now let's do the black and white thing again, like you do. Zoink. It just looks like shading now. But then when we bring that color back, now you start to see all it all just kind of reveals itself. And that's hopefully what we're doing here. Let's check this. So you can see there's purples in there. There's some oranges. Now when we go and make it black and white, shading remains, but all those different colors, those go away, and then we can bring them back. Let's see. Not interested at all in the painting process. Let's talk about the base. Well, I've got other bases that I can paint. And it's just a piece of Sculpey, which is over here. There we go. And the neat thing about the Sculpey, you can see I was carving it here. Now it's going to be a wood base. But here you got the flat side, and that's all. That is just the flat side of the Sculpey. So when I get to the next one over here, what the heck is her name? Margaery will do her base as well. Let's get some. I want to get some even brighter, just reds in here. In the mid-tones. Like that. There we go. And I'm specifically targeting these areas that are supposed to be dark, but yet we're throwing another area of a little bit of life into those darks. Because if it's just a darker red, I mean, it'll have some, you'll have your shading, but you're not going to have any kind of interest. There's shading and there's interesting shading. Interesting shading is a whole nother business from, okay, yeah, we'll just take a darker red and make it darker. But remember, we were using stuff like the green liner to make it darker. Well, you know me with bases. Oh, well, you want to see bases? Yeah. So this is the same principle taken to a little bit more extreme degree. So it's that same Sculpey base. Not the exact same one, but the same Sculpey material on cork. And you can see we can do a little bit more with it. When people ask, do you miss 2D art? They say, well, no, because I still get to do stuff like this. Well, as I think Bug King has heard the story, I'm not allowed to just play games with only my miniatures or only my bases. Well, I wish I could, because you got bases like this that are really, really fun. And there's another example of that same kind of ice theme base. That's just cork. That's all it is. Hey, Crash and Burn, how you doing? That's what I always call the orc aircraft, the Crash and Burn. Ah, here we go. So this is one that I painted in a previous stream here. So there's some basing for you. And it's just bark, sticks. I sculpted the tree fungus. I sculpted the mushrooms. Those are vellum plants. And once again, sticks. So that's what you're looking at. And this was painted in oils, by the way. Yeah, I love me my basing. Oh, gee, we should do more basing. That same cork that had ice on it, that same exact cork now has lava on it and object source lighting. There we go. Now, this is actually another, we'll do this. So, zoink, away goes the color. You can still see the lighting. You bring the color back, and now, look at that. You can see the cooler colors on the back of the Raptorix there. And I'm wondering if this is the sort of muddy snow that you're talking about. So this is the scorpion. Yeah, the scorpion right here. And that's the oil, basically just oil paint and plaster mixed together to make muddy snow, and the obviously the secret weapon crushed glass method too. So I'm going to take some of that red, some of the orange here, and we're going to go even further into the interior. I might even actually, I'm going to grab me my smaller brush. Just bear with me here while I do that. Just bear with me a second here. There we go. There, that's more, there we go. That is what I want. So see how we almost have we have that line of light, then there's like a dark, this is what almost gives it a bit of a, I don't want to say metallic look, but a shinier look, because it's reflecting something there. It's not just dark in those crevices. There's something else happening there. Something else in those crevices. Oh, I see. This is another area for sure. We've got to do that. Right here. Oh, let's get a little more of an orange going. There we are. Looks like
Enters my domain.
we got ourselves a Mike Disney. Well, that's another person that I probably don't have to say you need to go follow because you probably already
Hello,
do.
little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Hey there, Ultra Squid. And it's Raven Cat saying hello. Deck Knight, how's it going?
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
We're gonna have some Oh, look at that. Beef in the Hole has like a bazillion eyes of Sauron. So I'm glad that those things work, and I'm glad people could actually access those darn things. So yes, we are being rated yet again by the wonderful Art of Mike Disney. So go ahead and follow him. Now, hopefully, especially for Kathy, he's going to be doing his Pictionary this Thursday.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
And, oh, I got to do this to see who just... Oh, Wah in the Paint Box. Thanks for the follow. Actually, I got to do some orc things, too. Actually, I have a big old orc... Oh, gosh. The big old truck with the steamroller on the front. I got a bunch of death copters. I got a whole heaping bunch of death copters. I got to do those, too.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
No, thanks, Megan Hain, for the follow. Appreciate it. So we're just kind of concluding on our second figure here. So where's our first one? So here was figure number 1. We did this in the first hour. And now we're working on this one again. Another Song of Ice and Fire figure. Okay, oh yeah, and Kathy, she's going to be streaming tomorrow at 3 Central. She's letting me have some of the daylight hours here. Well, what's left of the daylight hours. So that not everything has to be at Wappel o'clock in the morning. That's a thing now. That is now a new thing. So here's our little card. So this is Melisandre. And we're going to work in some more lights on her face, but we're just trying to get some interesting colors on the dress. And now that we've got plenty of our lights and darks in place, we're going to show a little something here with the clear red and what's interesting about it. So we are going to take this, we are going to thin this down. We're not going to make it super liquid. We're just thinning that down. And the idea is here, so I just call that sort of a dry glaze. So I can take some of these highlights here. You kind of work both ways. You build up the highlights and then you sort of knock some of them down. But it's not liquid. You don't see water running all over the place. But because it is clear red, and the clear green, the clear blue, all those do a similar thing. All does kind of a similar thing. Now let's get some lights on the lower lip there too. Let's do that. I just want to make sure you can see that. Now we did just not long ago, we played with the eyes to change them from looking straight ahead to looking off to the side, and that was really fun. That was really fun. Here, let's get some of that maiden flesh. So the colors are really simple. It is really simple. There's literally just clear orange here, clear yellow, clear red, clear green, clear blue, and then some of these liner paints. There's green, sepia, red, and blue, and brown. That's it. There's 8 or 9 colors on here. That's all we really needs. That's it. Now we're starting to get some reflected light here. We're going to do some of that again, as we do here with some of our clear red and some of the maiden flesh. Think of it almost like it is non-metallic. So that little reflected light, think of it as the reflected light like what we did in these metals right here, as I use another figure for pointing. Let's see. Kelly Cotto could not believe I was streaming so early. Well, when possible, I tried to do this for, well, folks here in North America who can't be awake at 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. I will also be, I do believe, this weekend, especially on Saturday and early on Sunday, I'm going to be doing some live streams of more Song of Ice and Fire stuff, because it's CMON Expo virtual version, basically. And I will be doing a whole bunch of Song of Ice and Fire stuff. And I think among the stuff I'm going to prep will be these lads here, your Zorse riders. So I'll be prepping these guys so we can paint them up. And now I'm going to go back to the reflections here. So again, reflective armor. So this is, again, my unit of halberds that I did. You can see there's a horizon line in their helmets. It's broken up. And we'll do this again. You can see the reds reflected in their armor, sky color, and one more time. Now we're also going to look at these guys. So check out the pyromancers. This is the same clear red, clear yellow, clear orange. However, we've used those same colors here and gotten much different results there, because we took this color here, this faded plum, mixed it with the clear red. So here we have basically a cooler color than those pyromancers. We're going to use the same mix up here. Here, let's get some of that back into here again. Let's see. Kelly Cole needs to get my entire starter set ready to paint. It is going to kind of be a Song of Ice and Fire weekend. At least that is the plan. I mean, unless something weird and crazy happens, the plan is to be doing lots of Song of Ice and Fire. And I want to do especially the cavalry and oils, but I'll also be doing well, I've got the acrylics here, kind of standard Reaper acrylics for your NCUs. Now, people wanted to see a base, kind of like the base that we painted here. And we've got a couple of other characters waiting. This is Margaery, Tyrell, or Tyrell. What we're going to do is line this up here. It's so much cooler because it's faded. All kids want to be faded. That's why the faded jeans were so popular. I'm telling you, that is it. That is the reason why faded jeans were so popular back then, because they really just wanted to be faded ultramarine. Now, I don't want to have the lines always going in the same direction on everyone. So let's change that. I'll have to go this way. And it's a simple pattern. It looks all complex over here, right? That looks super complex. It's not really that complex. Because what are we going to do? We're just going to make a second line here. That's all it is. And then we got to do one of these little triangles right here. We'll just do that here. Boom. There's your triangle. And then we got this point right here. And we're going to do these little round L's along with a little bit of a secondary line here. These secondary lines can just do so much. It's not hard at all, but it adds so much. And if you're wondering why the marble bases, well, they've got to match the rest of the army because the entire army is based like this. So you can see we've got, again, the marble bases, and I've done 4 units already like this. I've painted some of them on previous streams. Yeah, Mike, is this the first time that you actually ever got to watch me? Because usually you're streaming, or I'm watching you, or something like that. Something conspires to keep us from both being, well, we can't be both be in each, well, unless we multi-stream. I guess then we could both be in the same stream, doing the same thing. But usually, yeah, not one of us is doing one thing, one of us is doing the other. And hopefully this Thursday you'll be able to do your Pictionary thing again. And that it won't involve, I guess, video games, I think, was what the last one was all about. Although Kathy guessed Atari. Okay, so there we go. I'll get those. Right, and now let's do our little squiggles here. Little squiggles with leaves on them. Little squiggles with leaves, like you do. And it's just a little bit of the sepia liner, a little bit of the clear yellow. Here, let's have one go this way. We'll have another one that just kind of arcs this way. Does sort of a full... Yeah, I gotta get some of that to go underneath that dress too. It can't just kind of, I don't know, conveniently avoid the hem of that dress, which we'll get to that one. Like I said, we'll do that one next here in a jiffy so that people can have a chance to see how these things develop. Now, the start of this literally was just green liner, slapped it on top, and wiped away the extra with the sponges. It starts out really down and dirty and messy, as you can see, but then eventually, see, we can start to lighten up certain parts of our freehand real quick, like here. We'll just do that. Let's go over here. We're gonna lighten it on this side. Alex, you know me with the freehand. I just absolutely love doing it. Although I suppose maybe some would say that I love object source lighting more, because hey, it's object source lighting. It's like lighting your miniature, either from within or without. Here, let's get to maybe one more level of lightness. We don't gotta do too crazy on just the base itself. Don't want to take too much away from the miniature. Let's get a little bit lighter here, like you do. Boom. And we'll leave this be. It's kind of a light to dark thing here. If it was all done the exact same way, it's just gonna look like it was printed on there. Oh, so you were shaking doing ears on a helmet, and he does an entire set of basing it. What I still got to do, though, is we still got to paint literally 2 miniatures in my hands at the same time. That is still the ultimate death challenge right there. Because what is that, 2 brush blending? It's like, yeah, whatever. Let's see you do 2 miniature painting. Let's see you hold 2 miniatures in your hand and paint both of them at the same time. That's Chuck Norris level right there. That's like Chuck Norris versus Conan the Barbarian or something. I don't know, but it's intense. Okay, good enough. We leave that beat. Now let's get to some colors on her after I drink something here. Didn't want to be doing that right in your ear. So where's the card? Here's the card. So this one's going to be greens. The first one had the armor with some greens in it. The second one was the red dress, but this one obviously is going to have some serious amount of greens in it. Let's see, I need to remember that for everything, but this kind of freehand is beyond me. It's Chuck level. There we go. Yeah, we'll have to do some. We have to come up with another sticker for that. Sort of like Chuck Norris style stickers. Now, do I want to go? So that's going to be green. There's like a gold, some kind of lace or brocade on the outer edge of that. So let's start playing around with some greens, and just like we did with the reds on Melisandre here, we're going to try and vary the greens the way we were varying the reds. That's why we look at this. We got green, clear green that hasn't been touched yet. Well, now we're going to start using it. We are going to start to use that right now. And as you can see, we just slop it on here. We are not being nice and neat or anything of that kind, because I want to actually still be able to wet blend. So we can see there's warmer and cool greens in there. Let's see if we can get that real quick like here on our clothes. So we're almost going to treat this like water-soluble oils, because every time someone asks me, hey, have you tried the water-soluble oils? My question is, do you have acrylic paints? And they'll say, well, yeah. I said, then you got water-soluble oils. Because look, if you work fast enough, like this, you can wet blend. Oh, and you got to use a decent sized brush. You use the decent sized brush, you work fast, you wet blend, almost like you're working with oils. And look, we're using faded ultramarine. We're quite literally using a purple to highlight a green, which sounds insane. However, what it does, remember we're talking about having different colored greens? We wanted differences in the greens. Well, if we use different colors to lighten that same clear green, where the heck is here it is. It's the same clear green, mix it with a little bit of the blue liner. As Nessie knows, it is the most powerful color ever. Oh, Devious Dungeons Painting, how are you doing? Chuck can't paint minis. The bristles of the brush go straight through them when he tries. There is that. I'll give Chuck that maybe. Now let's do the opposite sort of green here. Let's get some yellow into that green. Maybe a little more yellow there. So we're thinking we didn't need yellow for the cloak. We wanted green for the cloak, but maybe a green that's, oh, I don't know, got some yellow in it. So we just took the same color, we lightened it with a different color, we get a different result. So here, a cooler green. Over here, it's going to be a gradually warmer and warmer green. Cool up there, and now here as we get down towards the bottom, that green begins to change, it begins to shift, which makes it a heck of a lot more interesting than just, oh look, gradually lighter colors of green. And the eye just looks at that and gets sad because it's boring. And I says, man, couldn't you just, I don't know, get some yellow in that green? Maybe like clear yellow and put it in the clear green, and then you take the big brush and then you put some more down here. Could you do something like that, maybe to make those greens a little more interesting, like you do? Work fast. Think about the whole miniature all at once. You're working locally. We're working on this one part here, but we're thinking about the whole entire figure. We're not just painting the face and the rest of it's still primed black or white or whatever color you choose to prime. We sort of recommend that you choose as neutral a primer. Nessie knows spicy green compared to bland green. We like spicy greens. It's like the jalapenos of greens. You know, this is like habanero green right here. It's hot stuff. Well, we could make it a whole lot more hot with that. Which, yes, we've used that plenty of times. Here we go. So this is we use that fluorescent green to enhance. See the green? Look at that. The green is more of a bluish there, and then it becomes more of a yellow over here. Same thing with the freehand itself. There you go. And on the base. So you're talking about freehand on bases and some greens. Let me see if I can find here we go. Boom. So there you go. That's another, again, one of my army painting series, but you can see the greens and the yellows. Some of that green is a little bit more bluish. There's even some reds in the yellows. So it's all about these nifty little subtle transitions, all in one color. You consider it green. But green can be many, many, many things. So let's keep going. Speaking of greens, let's keep going with these here. And when you have the clear paints like this, yeah, see, it's almost more like a dry glaze than it is a layer of paint. And I have mixed no lighter colors, none of the opaques with this. Now, I guess you could consider faded ultramarine or an opaque. It's one powerful color, that's for sure. Now I'm going to get just a touch of that maggot white in there. And that's going to shift this again. Not just going to make it lighter, but it's also going to change it. It's going to make it actually a little bit more intense of a color. So like the Cipher Lords with that nice intense green. Now, what's going on with so gold's there, gold's there, gold's all around. Let's do some dark brown in the hair real quick. Throw some magenta into that green. Well, we're definitely going to do that. You know that. Well, we did it on our metals because it ain't metal if it doesn't have pink in it. It can't be non-metallic without pink. That's like the rule. I just wanted to throw this again. It's about the context here, and I need to have that darker here in place to compare to. I'm also going to get, let's use a little bit of faded ultramarine and some palette sludge to start to get the color on the sleeves here. And again, palette sludge, that's a color, that's a real thing. It's pretty much a lot of the other colors that are just sort of left behind. There. Not quite sure what color that is supposed to be, but faded ultramarine and palette sludge is always good enough. What's the trim on this supposed to be like? It does not show. Does not show. We'll just say it's going to be more of a gold here. We're taking our orange and our yellow. We mix them together. We make a quick little gold out of it. I cannot advocate strongly enough Kelly's got to head out. Been painting for 2 hours. Got to take a walk break. Well, hopefully I will see you for sure this weekend, if not sooner. Now, of course, I think my next one I do might be another late night one, but I might try to do one like this maybe. Oh yeah, I'll try and do one this time on Friday night for sure. After Kathy is done with her Friday during the day, 3 to 5 stream. So hopefully we can hook up again. So you can see the gold changes here. It's not always just yellow, because yellow is Imperial Fists. Gold is more reflective. It's got more stuff going on than just being yellow. More than just yellow. And that isn't even dried yet. I'm already starting to sneak some more of our golds in there. Here, let's get our little card back here. Have these two side by side. Yeah, good night, Kelly. See you next time. Let's see. Pistols at dawn. Bring coffee. Well, Kathy always, she has her morning coffee and sometimes then early afternoon coffee, and then that converts over to tea, which sometimes is daytime Earl Grey, and sometimes it is nighttime blueberry tea. And not always the blueberry tea, but let's make ourselves a little bit of a skin tone on her here. And it's sort of the maiden flesh combined with various other forms of palette sludge. Now, actually, well, let's see. I think I might try to do the same thing with her eyes where she's sort of looking off to the side, maybe looking at you. But because that's translucent, some of that darker shading is still showing through underneath. I was hoping that it would. That seems to be the case. Oh, Nessie just had his evening coffee. Well, if there is still, I don't know if I'll have time to make Kathy her nighttime tea this evening. That may have to wait till tomorrow. Going to get the hands a little bit of skin tone there. And okay, we got to get some skin tone in here as well. I'm just going to fill that all in for right now and then do some other glazes over the top of that. Let's just get that filled in here real quick. Then I've got to see what color is her hair. Is it brown? Again, at a disadvantage because never saw the show, never read the books. So I'm kind of at the mercy of these cards and what they show me or don't show me. I do see a little bit of reddish color in the hair. So let's see if we can manage some of that. Now I'm going to take the faded ultramarine, a touch of the maggot white here, and let's start to lighten this up. I think that actually needs to be gold as well. So let's just do this part then. And at that, actually, I'm going to maybe shift that towards gold as well. Okay, so we're going to do some changes here. Again, based on what I see with the card, going to make some changes. Again, that's the faded ultramarine, but because it really covers like crazy, it's different. I can't emphasize that enough. Some paints are just kind of different. It's like with the oils. You know, phthalo blue is very different from alizarin crimson and cadmium red. Just chemically, they're different, which is why you get all those different sort of textures out of it. All right. We've changed. That's got to change to gold there too. Okay, that's good to know. The hair needs to be a little bit more on the reddish side. So, oh, look at this. We got red liner over here. That's good enough. It's a dark enough red. And our brush, which had the nice point on it, all of a sudden now conveniently becomes that filbert brush we need to be able to work large and fast. Like you do. Because if we've got these, basically each of these about an hour each on these guys. We're going to try and finish her also, get her in like an hour or so. Now I can go, see, like I still got, look at this, that's why all the colors on the palette, look at this, here's almost got a little bit of a pink in it now. So much more interesting than just, oh, let's just choose a lighter brown. Then I can actually go with this different brown here. That's the sepia right there. Constantly changing this color around makes that here look a whole lot more interesting, even though it's just, it's basically a dark. I can even use that as a, get a little shading down here on this gold trim. We can go back in there with some more lights, but for right now, even thinking about some shadows on the hands, just because of where they're positioned. Gonna think about some shading on the face now here.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my
As we
ganja.
have a follow from Kiwis. I'm just gonna say it that way because, well, always thinking about Always thinking about our New Zealand friends, so I apologize if I have taken liberties with the pronunciation there. We'll get some touch of shading there. We're going to get another touch of shading on the hands again. And then I'm going to actually throw out some more of my clear yellow here. Again, that's your Reaper clear yellow. Let's see, let's get caught up with the chat here. Kathy has all of the coffees and teas. Oh, she had an evening sandwich. Oh, man, is that the pretzel bread? Could that be pretzel bread that I'm hearing about? Which was it yesterday? I managed to find that at the store. Yeah, let's get some of the gold trim going here again. We have not added any kind of light color to it. Now let's see. Drunk kiwi. Ah, there we go. Yeah, looking at, let's see. See, am I the first one to translate it? Yeah, let's get our, now see, we can start to think about some lights here. I'm also going to go back into the cloak here with some darks. We'll use for sure, the green liner, but we'll see if we can't work in some of the blue liner as well. Now here, I want that gold, if you want to call it that, to get a little bit cooler. So I'll let actually some of the maggot white, which is a blue white, work its way in there. So instead of just continuously brighter yellows, again, we're shifting that color just a little bit here. There it is. And I don't know what sort of freehand type designs may or may not go on the back of that. Again, not having much knowledge about the character, like none, is less helpful than you'd think it would be. Not that that should really be helpful whatsoever. Okay, and I think I might want to do there's a little bit of a pattern on this. Let's look at that card again. Yeah, see, I'm seeing something right here. And yeah, and something there. So what I'm going to do is, so we've boxed out, blocked in all of this stuff here. We're going to get our smaller brush once again here, wherever that is. And we're going to see if we can't do a little bit of some kind of a freehandy style pattern in there. That'll be just a kind of a suggestion of it too. Because here, I'll show you the pyros again. There they are. So you see that little pattern right in there? That's just a simple pattern that I've done 8,000 times for the Lannister. Basically everything I have that's a Lannister has that sort of pattern on it. That has a cloak anyways. So I'll go back to our main screen. Let's see what we can do here freehand wise. So again, that is a little bit of the maggot white, which is a bluish white, and our yellow here. Let's see what we can do to make this more interesting, and just instead of just shading it, see if we can put something on here that's more interesting. Here we're going to do our, just like what we saw on the base. See a little swirl right there. Oh look, we're just going to do another one right here. None of this is earth-shattering. It's not that difficult, really. It's a simple pattern, but it already adds a lot just by itself. See what that did? And also, guess what? It sort of reflects a little bit, like what's going on here. We could even give that a couple of leaves or whatever. Yeah, let's give it a couple of leaves. And let's do these little things in her hair, whatever these things are. I don't want to say braids, but whatever these little metal things are that are kind of holding the semi-braids together, we'll do these. And I can go even. Let's go a touch lighter with that. Now it's barely even yellow at all. It's more like a bluish white. Let's see. Yeah, there's a good chance of a flower on the Tyrell. Usually a golden rose for the house. A golden, well, maybe something we can put back here. Maybe something we can put back there. I don't know. Let's just play here. I have no real clue what we want to do here, but we'll just think of something. Just think of something. So golden rose. Now there's a lot of undulations on this cloak, so that will make it a little bit more tricky. Let's get another one of these little swirls. And the nice thing is we spent, what, all of 2 seconds doing freehand on this. So if we don't like it, we just get rid of it. I could literally just paint green right over that if I don't like what I see. Now the thing is with all of these folds, it's going to be tricky to continue this circular pattern here. So sometimes you kind of fudge the pattern a little bit so that you can work around all of those stupid folds. And that's starting to look a little bit more interesting than just flat green. Once again, we've been repeating. Now every rose, I suppose, has its thorns, so maybe we'll just put some stylized thorns on this, and then maybe this is where the rose is going to be, something like this, maybe even a stylized rose. Some leaves coming off of it there. So thank you very much, Ravencat, for the heads up there, because well, that looks way more fun like that than it would have without it, that's for sure. And yeah, we'll do some more of our little squigglies here too. It's a highly technical paint term. You can use that. Hey, it's brushcraft. Let's see. I'm just trying to get caught up with the chat again. Let's have this guy go all the way down to there. Again, every rose has we'll put little thorns there. And then I can strengthen this in places or weaken it as need be. Oh, let's just dig into some more of this here and see if we can do some lights here. And then I'm going to actually go the opposite way and try and get some shading on some of this in the darks. Oh, Big J Customs. Oh, well, thank you very much. Now, this weekend, there will be a lot more Game of Thrones. I've been showing the Zorse writers because those came in. There's going to be sort of an emphasis, I think, on the Targaryens because I've been itching to paint that cavalry and oils. So I'll be doing some of that. But there's also some of the other hero boxes. There's Unsullied. Then there's some of my other, I think I might, yeah, heck, I might even prep some more mountains, man. So I can paint more of these guys in oils. I actually did a whole unit of these guys in oils already. That was very fun. And I don't think I have another, no, I don't have the other catapult, but I do have one more scorpion. So I could even, heck, I could even do another one of these. I can even maybe do one of these, maybe over the weekend or whatever. Let's see, a 7-pointed star or the house. Well, actually, maybe that could go on his, right there. Now, I guess if a little bit of freehand here too. So this is my latest army painting series that I'm working on, and well, you can see there's a wee bit of freehand on here too. I just uploaded this video and sent it off to the patrons, and I just the seven-pointed star reminded me oh, and then of course on Spellbrush here with the, as Mike knows, there was a little cheeky White Sox logo snuck in there. Oh, let's see. Big J Customs is new to the table. What might the Jon Snow of the tabletop? I could swear I painted him. I know I must have. I must have painted him because I think I've painted all of these Stark heroes. Yeah, let's get a few little lights in here. I think I still have one of the. No, I don't have Shaggy Dog anymore. I have either Summer or Greywind, I think. I still have one or two of the wolves. And actually, I've got these two giants here on the YouTube channel. So if you want to see how to paint these guys and do the snow effects. So there's Free Folk Giant number 1. Here he is. And there's Free Folk Giant number 2. So these are on the YouTube channel. Just James Wappel on YouTube. Easy enough to find me. I try to keep the names somewhat similar all across the board. So we made things lighter. Let's make things a little darker. Let's do that. Here, we're going to grab some of this green some of this green right here, and right, boom. Look at this. Look what happens. So instead of me fighting with the freehand pattern to shade, look at how that shaded itself. Let the stupid miniature do the work. Why kill yourself? Look at that. So all of a sudden now things that are in the folds, they look like they're in the folds. Instead of sort of magically avoiding that whole circumstance where a fold should be darker. We just shaded all that freehand. We don't have to do it over here because we don't really have the folds. But back here, we got some fun stuff going on. That's for sure. So this is another neat thing about painting on the live streams, because this is not the first time where someone said, oh, it's the Marvel Crisis Protocol. Remember Nessie? Was it you or someone that told me, oh, it was either Black Panther or Captain America? It was somebody, and they said, no, it should be, you need to make it this color because that's what it's supposed to be. Because I must admit to have never having read a comic book in my life, so I didn't know. I had no idea what most of those things were that I was looking at. So it's always, when someone has info like that, it is very valuable. Which actually, that's the next thing I got to do, is get back to the Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff, because we got taxis, we got terrain, and we actually have some of other miniatures still to paint yet. So there's still some more of that Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff, which will make Nessie happy. Oh, can I get me some more light in here? I think I can. Yes. Gotta get some lights in her eyes. Don't fire till you see the lights in her eyes. Let's do that here. So, if I can do the 3 figures in 3 hours with freehand, with basing, with all that stuff, that's a nice little warm-up exercise. Getting ready for, well, there's a whole lot of painting to be done before we ever get to the weekend yet. And a whole lot of assembly apparently too. So let's get into her face here. Let's start to lighten these things up. I guess what kind of gets me is there is that sort of prevailing notion that, and I hate the word speed paint because it's just a connotation that, oh, it's nasty. It's this ugly, horrible thing that looks like it's barely got any shading. Okay. So I would imagine that some of these would be, in the time frame that they're painted, would be considered speed painted. But we just did freehand. We just shaded our freehand. We've done freehand on the base. that's I don't know. It's weird how things have to fit in their own little categories, and it all has to be. Oh, we have Topsicle. Thank you very much. Oh, Ravencat says he's lucky if he gets a couple figures done in a week. Oh, and Cosmic Cubicle has finished his Necromunda game. Well, welcome in. It's great to have you here. I've got actually, well, Kathy, ooh, wow, that was one of her first things that she painted, I think, on a stream was her Necromunda gang. I have a, is it Vanseer gang or whatever? I've got to paint one of those, so there will be eventually Necromunda here too on the channel. No, there's going to be everything because I kind of paint, well, everything.
Who enters my domain?
Someone enters my domain, and it is Nightheart Gaming and 17 Raiders, it would seem. So we'll welcome them in. It looks like they won't have to deal with all the scary, messy stuff. They're going to be seeing all the pretty stuff. The stuff that comes after all of that messy thing where we get paint all over our hands and make things nice and messy. We got Afro Queen and Fairy Bard. The way is shut.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Thanks for the follow, Nightheart Gaming. You know the other soundbite that I was so desperate to find that I have not found? It's the speak friend and enter. And I wanted to have the gate, that little gate thing as the graphic with that soundbite. Couldn't find the soundbite anywhere, which is...
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Which made me sad, but we also have Celtic Boar in the house. Thanks for following. I appreciate it. So what we're going to do is we're completing trying to get some of those lights here onto the hands. We will go back and we're going to do some more shading on the freehand. I think I might even try and sneak some in over here on this part of the cloak as well. So for all the... Oh, we have Sidwee here.
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Thanks for the follow, Fairy Bard. We also have Psycho Cindy in the house. And IPA also in the... I'm just looking at my chat here. Efficiency is definitely not bad. So what we have been doing, we started this around 6:15. We painted this guy first right over here. It's Eldon Estermont. So this was our first one. This was hour one. We painted him, and again, he looked like, that. So he went from that to that in about an hour. Then we took, what's her, Melisandre here. She was also just primed, and we painted her in hour number 2. And now for hour number 3, we are working on Margaery Tyrell. And we're going to be working on her face and her hair. Thanks to the help of some of the listeners, they told me what should maybe be freehanded on the back of her cloak right there. Now we've been doing the same work on all of the bases here. So you can see we've freehanded that pattern on all 3. And you can see some of the other, these are the heroes of the Baratheon faction there. And so we've been doing, again, freehand. We've been doing some of our non-metallic metals. And let's get back to Margaery here. So I got to do something with her hair. So we need to get some of that reddish. I don't want to make it red hair. I do want to have it be lighter though. So we're just working with the Reaper clear and liner paints. So you can see it almost looks like sort of a dirty purple type of a color there. So I've already got that pretty much in place. Means I can maybe lighten it just a touch. I'm going to lighten that a little bit here. Like so. There we go. I'm going to put the card away so I can get a decent handle on this. Now the Song of Ice and Fire figures, for those not familiar with them, they are basically a one-piece cast. Think of them a bit like the Bones miniatures. So see, now we got a little more of a highlight going in. It does mean at times you have to paint in a little more of the detail yourself, but for A, the price, B, the indestructibility, and C, the not having to glue together a bazillion different parts, they have their advantages. And I will be doing more streams over the weekend. I do believe this time Friday will be the next stream. It'll probably start around 6:30-ish or so Central Time. Speak, friend, and enter. Oh, the Cosmic Cubio has the sound. Boy, if you've got that sound and if you can shoot me that file, that would be fabulous. Oh, that would be, and I mean, I already have the graphic of the gate. I mean, I got like 2 different graphics of that thing. Now, just like we did with the eyes on her, we're going to do the same thing here. So we're going to start with something that's actually darker here. Let's just do this. Essentially a dark green with the idea we're essentially painting the eyelid and the eyebrow both at the same time here with one brushstroke, because like we did on the other two, we're going to go back in there later. We'll go back in there with basically sort of a middle tone color, and that's what's going to give us the separation between the two. So it sort of looks like a cat-girl mask right now until we take, something like this, almost like a little bit of a purple here. I think you can see that. And now we're going to just cut this right in two. We cut it in two. And we'll magnify it. We'll go again. But it's one way, instead of having to basically draw on the eyebrow and eyelid, it's almost painting itself on there. So now we can make it a little lighter. So make sure you can see it. And boom, there you go. So now you start to see the eyelid and the eyebrow up here. But they, again, you don't have to be drawing those on for one thing. I'm going to throw some more of the maiden flesh out here. Real simple Reaper colors. Keeping it simple. I think we've painted 3 figures here, all with distinctly different color schemes, with maybe 7 colors. 8 tops, and maybe 8 tops. That's all you need here. Cosmic Cubicle will message me that on Instagram, or message me about it. Yeah. Well, let's see. I'll just give you my email address. That should make it a whole lot easier. Yeah, shoot me a message on Instagram, and I will shoot you my email address, and that should make it pretty easy. I don't think it's going to be such a big file that you couldn't send that in a Gmail. So that's much appreciated, and that makes me excited. I mean, I think I still have to keep my Hello Little Hobbit sound, but there's definitely, for a host, there's a bunch of different places we could use that sound. It might even be for bits and for cheering, too. And remember, Wappelius Spellblade will also dance for bits and for cheers. He's done it a couple times already. Now, the lower lip here also needs to be lighter. It's clear red, and it's some of our other lighter tones here. We keep it simple, we keep it safe. Now we're going to get some of that also into the cheeks here, give it a little bit of rosiness. I'm thinking too on the nose here. Now, what can we do here? We're thinking, try and maybe sneak in a little more freehand there. Let's see if we can do that. Keeping the palette on screen. Oh, hey, ring-a-ding-a-doo. Well, we still have to paint her just remind me to paint her irises there too and her pupils. I'll do that, I promise. But we don't need her to have yellow eyes. We'll just go ahead with our little freehand pattern that we want to mess with right here. There's already something in place. We're just going to, oh, I don't know, magnify that a little bit here. Sometimes that's a cheap way of doing some freehand. You just play off of a pattern that's already there. And that's quite literally what we're doing here. We're taking a simple thing that's already there, because look, it mirrors that. It's already mirroring existing freehand. We could keep it like that. We can do something like this. We can keep with our little squiggles and swirls here. And then this one like this. And maybe just paint the impression of something inside of that. So look at that. It literally took a few seconds. A few seconds to do that. It does not have to be complex. It doesn't have to break your back. Sometimes the simpler it is, the easier that pattern is to read and understand for the viewer. The more I've done it. I've done super complex freehand patterns that seem like the greatest of ideas until I paint them on there and I go, well, yeah. I thought that was going to work on paper. It seemed like it was going to work out well. But then when I put it on the actual figure, because of folds and cloaks or whatever, sometimes it just doesn't work. No matter how hard you try. Here, I'm trying to also, speaking of that, I want to get some of this a little bit lighter right here. That's better. I don't want the entire thing to be equally highlighted, but I sure as heck want to get a little more shape. There we go. See, again, it's a suggestion. We suggested there was something right there. Back here. Do we do some more on that? I don't know, but what we have to do is going to get some of that green liner. We're going to get some darks in here now. Going to work the other way with some darks. Along this edge here. It's time for some refinements. It's time for some separation. Oh, like that. Again, it was literally one brush stroke. Be direct, be bold. Fortune flavors the bold. Let's get a little bit of that green into our gold here now. Why? Because it's also right next to this really dark blue base, so gold and dark blue together, well, maybe dark green in the shadows. It'll tie that together. Now over here, we got no separation. Let's give it some separation again. That is the green. That's the green liner. It goes boom right in there. Goes right in there down to this part of her dress and cuts that off real nice. How's about some more of that? Maybe over here on the front of the dress. Again, I think this one might have even been less than an hour, and it's potentially even more elaborate with freehand than the other two. It can be done. It has been done. Now I want to do, so that is a little gold pendant thing there that I see. It's topsicle. The witchcraft. Well, that is why. Well, that's why Wappel spell wizard or a spell brush is a sorcerer with his little buddy Benny right there. Yes, sir. But for the new folks in here that haven't seen it, I'd love doing my freehand. So here's another example of a simple freehand pattern. There's 12 guys here. I have done that same freehand pattern on at least 48, about 53 miniatures. That same freehand pattern all across. And then halberds here. I've done several units of these guys. Where is my? I'm looking. Oh, and here we go. So again, figures that these are bones, right? These are Reaper bones figures, the ones that you can throw against the wall and they just bounce off the wall, right? That's all these things are. But we gave them some object store sledding, we treated them right, and they actually look like something. Here's another bones figure. And oh look, here's another bones figure. So, and bases. So again, freehand here. That's just a simple Scopy base. It's exactly what we got here. It's just a different pattern. Same exact type of bases, different pattern free-handed on there. So we're going to go back live, and for those that have not seen this base, same concept, just a different thing painted on there. So you can do so much with such simple materials. In some ways, the more simple the materials, the easier the result's going to be, because you're not fighting some kind of weird exotic like water effects and some of those other things that you never quite know what the heck they're going to do. You never quite know what they're going to do to you. Now here I'm going to get that a little bit darker before I put the gold on there. Then we got to get some eyes on this lady here now too. He was simple in the legendary air quotes. Well, now here's what I mean by that, because way back in the day when we were trying to figure out what the heck to do with basing, we tried to actually physically sculpt things like trees and tree stumps and rocks. We were sculpting rocks and trees. And then Kathy kind of went, wait a minute, what if we just picked up a rock off the ground, smushed it into the Sculpey before the Sculpey was baked, and then baked the Sculpey, and then we got rocks that we don't have to sculpt. And that was just, it just took her thinking, and it's like, wait a minute, let's just take the stupid rock and shove it in the Sculpey. We have ourselves a beautifully sculpted rock, because nothing makes nature better than nature. When we humans try to make nature, it just looks artificial. Something about letting nature do its thing means it's going to have that natural look. And for the new folks, I'll show that base with the troll and the mushrooms and such. Now, of course, there aren't a whole lot of natural mushrooms in 28mm scale, so I did have to sculpt those. There we go. Give her a little bit of expression there. So where's my troll? Here he is. So he is sitting on some tree bark, and those are just quite literally sticks that were just sitting out in front of the house. Didn't buy those or do anything like that. Oh, thanks, Drankakiro. Appreciate it. Oh, Sidway has to go to bed. Well, thank you very much for stopping in. Now, I did sculpt the mushrooms. I did sculpt the tree fungus. And these are just vellum plants right here. And actually, he was a previous stream. I think he might be past the VOD stage, but he is now on my YouTube channel, so you can watch him there. That's what I do with all of these live sessions here, as I kind of take them, I remaster them, and then put them on the YouTube channel. Let's give her some eyes. There's one, and there's two. We give her some. Again, kind of redo the eyelashes, sorry. I'm going to get me some darks in the hair. That means brown liner to the rescue mixed with red liner for a little semi glaze here. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, with the tree bark and the sticks. I said, why am I sculpting freaking trees? Why am I doing this? Now I wish I had one of my eagles, my Lord of the Rings eagles. That was another thing that was, it's basically flying. and it's just literally flying off of a twig. It's just a twig. Now, certain twigs make better trees than others. I will say that. Not every tree, like birch branches, tend to not work so well. Actually, the branches I've kind of discovered that work the best are chestnut trees, walnut trees. Of course, in our neighborhood, they cut down two of them. One of the reasons they cut them down is because they were kind of diseased and, well, they kept shedding branches all over the place, which made them perfect for us. They were a perfect supply or source of hobby supplies. Now, Ringadingo's eyelashes, it's, well, that is, I have, I've done portrait painting for a long time, so it doesn't hurt, that's for sure. It doesn't hurt to have all those years of portrait painting, but I think I've got, well, almost every single one of the videos that I do has painting faces in it. So look at what we did here. Can you see that? She has this nifty little eyebrow that kind of curves up and over like that. That sort of that sort of Spock look right there.